Welcome to the City Council, regular council meeting, January 2026 at 5:30. May I have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mayor Brad Horton, David Glover,
Present.
Councilmember Thelma Kobeck,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Kenneth Michaels,
Present.
and Councilmember Jeff Navarez.
Here.
All are present, except the mayor.
Thank you. At this time, Pastor Joshua Tosh of the Rebrand House Church in Kennedale is going to be leading us in our invocation. If you can please stand.
Pray for wisdom for our elected officials, that Lord, you will grant them the clarity of purpose and direction and knowledge to lead the city in such a way that will bring profit and glory to your name. Father, we pray for our first responders, men and women that go out to keep us safe. The Lord, you will protect them and their families. Father, we also pray for businesses in Kennedale, that every business in this city will flourish. And so, Heavenly Father, we remember all families here in this city. We pray for safety, we pray for peace, we pray for unity, even in our differences, that your name alone be glorified. Thank you, Father, for in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Is it okay? Can we all read the Lord's Prayer together? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, that will be done on earth as it's done in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptations, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Please remain standing for our pledges. Okay, we're going to go to our public comment. The City Council welcomes public comments to the public. Those who wish to speak can sign prior up to the meeting. Speakers may choose on any topic, whether it's an agenda or not. The Kennedale City Council cannot act upon, discuss issues raised, or make any decisions at this time. Speakers under citizens' comments shall observe a 3-minute time limit. Inquirers required the matters to be listed on the agenda to refer to the staff for research or possible future action by the board. Ms. Secretary, City Secretary, do we have anybody who needs to sign to speak on public comments?
Yes, sir. We have one speaker, Ms. LaQuelle Ford.
If you could go to the microphone, make sure the green button's on, and please state your name and address.
My name is LaKel Ford, and I am here on behalf of Goodwill of North Central Texas. Our address is 4005 Campus Drive, Fort Worth, Texas, 76119. And I'm here about our Summer Earn and Learn program. We have a program that during the summertime, it gives individuals the opportunity to work during the summer where we will actually pay the salary of the student. We're actually just looking for places for the student to actually go and work. Right now, we are partnered with the city of Forward. So I just wanted to talk to you all about our program.
The rebrand house.
Okay, that's that's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, everybody. Any other public comments? Anybody else? Going twice. All right. So next, we're going to move into our public hearing, and we've got PZ case number 25-17 to resume a public hearing and consider a proposed zoning change from multifamily to a planned development for the property located at 3100 Joplin Road, parcel 429-79020, Vaquero Coker Edition, Block 1, Lot 2R1 of the City of Kennedale, Tarrant County, Texas, 76060. And this is a continuation item. Do we have anybody on hand to speak? Yes.
Yes, sir, we do. Did you want public speakers first, or do you want the presentation first?
That will be done on earth as it's done in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespass.
Before we go into this, we've not actually opened it back up.
Us not into temptation.
Everybody good if we take a 5-minute stretch break real quick?
For yours
Pretty good.
is the kingdom and the glory forever and ever.
Motion to take a break?
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. And all in favor? And for the record, all opposed with a like sign. It is 5:35. We are going to take a quick break.
Okay, we're going to go to our public comment. City Council welcomes public comments to the public. Those who wish to speak can sign prior to the meeting. Speakers may choose on any topic, whether it's an agenda or not. The Kennedale City Council cannot act upon, discuss issues raised, or make any decisions at this time. Speakers under citizens' comments shall observe a 3-minute time limit. Inquirers require the matters to be listed on the agenda to refer to the staff for research or possible future action by the board. Ms. Secretary, City Secretary, do we have anybody who needs to speak on public comments?
Yes, sir, we have one speaker, Ms. LaQuelle Ford.
If you could go to the microphone, make sure the green button's on, and please state your name and address.
My name is LaQuelle Ford, and I am here on behalf of Goodwill of North Central Texas. Our address is 4005 Campus Drive, Fort Worth, Texas, 76119. And I'm here about our Summer Earn and Learn program. We have a program that during the summertime, it gives individuals the opportunity to work during the summer where we will actually pay the salary of the student. We're actually just looking for places for the student to actually go and work. Right now, we are partnered with the city of Forward. So I just wanted to talk to you all about
Still on break. Now we're out of break mode. Thank you all for your patience. I have been made aware of a potential conflict of interest that I may have with regard to this public hearing. And I've not had time to run that by the city attorney. So I would like to,
I'm going to jump in there, Mayor, and tell you, without having an opportunity to review your particular question, I would have to advise you to abstain just to be safe, because there are penalties associated with violating potential conflicts. But for what you're able to tell me real briefly, I'm not sure there is a conflict, but I couldn't give you that legal advice without having a little bit of time to go back and check that. So my recommendation at this point, if you would like to participate in the item that you indicated you had a conflict, request the matter be continued, and then we could come back. In the meantime, I can opine and give you a letter one way or the other, whether you have a conflict, and we can come back and revisit the issue. So my recommendation at this point, if you.
all right, thank you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. And, you know, I would maybe suggest, or if you guys want to allow it to be continued, request that until we have time to weigh in and know for certain with the city attorney.
If I could just jump in there too, Mayor, I probably should have added this too. If we open the public hearing, we can continue it to a date certain if the applicant is willing to agree to that. And if we can get the date certain on the calendar, when we do that. But we have to open the hearing, and then it'll take a motion basically to continue it to the date certain. So we'll just need to get that clarified.
Okay.
Date certain if the applicant is willing to agree to that.
This is for PZ case 25-17.
But we have to open.
It's open, but we were continuing it to tonight. So I guess we would continue it again. Yeah. So with that being said, it is 5:49 PM. We're going to continue the public hearing. Or reopen the public hearing to get the terminology right. All right. Reopen the public hearing, PC case 25-17, to resume a public hearing and consider a proposed zoning change from multifamily to a planned development for the property located at 3100 Joplin Road, parcel 429799020, Vaquero Coker Edition, Block 1, Lot 2R1 of the City of Kennedale, Tarrant County, Texas 76060. And again, we are reopening the public hearing. It is now 5:50 PM. If you guys want to come up, and we'll also allow anybody with that wanted to make comments as well. 2R1 of the City of Kennedale, Tarrant County, Texas 76060. And again, we are reopening the public hearing. It is now 5:50 PM. If you guys want to come up.
Okay, Tyler, sorry, I'll do this again. Tyler Wallach, attorney with Jackson Walker, and I represent Wood Partners, the developer and the applicant. We are amenable to a continuance to the next city council meeting, or a date certain that at whatever that next council meeting is. So yes, sir. Okay, Tyler, sorry, I'll do this again. Tyler Wallach, attorney with Jackson Walker, and I represent Wood Partners, the developer and the applicant. We are amenable to a continuance to the next city council meeting, or a date certain.
Yes, sir. The next city council meeting will be on February 17th.
All right. So additionally, does anybody else wish to speak at this time while we've got it open?
Yes, sir. The next city council meeting will be on February. Mr. Mayor, we do have 4 members signed up to speak.
So additionally, does anybody else wish to speak at this time while we've got it open?
There's a little bit of an echo. I don't know if that's something I should hear or not. I'm Jonathan Sheffron, 500 Steeple Chase Trail. And I just had a couple thoughts, because I don't know if I'll be back or not on February, but just thoughts you guys to consider. So the Alta Apartments mess is a big mess. So we all know that. It's a huge mess. It was created by some people prior to this, but it was also created by some people that are still here. An example of mistakes that were currently made is we should never have granted a CO to a non-conforming property. And then we've had continual problems with getting this property to conform to obvious things. And we've talked about that. I've been at this microphone talking about that. That has been an ongoing problem with Alta. but litigating all that is kind of pointless here, as most, I think the malfeasance is related to the city in this, and the neighbors are either going to file a lawsuit or they're not. And so I think relitigating all that's pointless. So now we're in a position of deciding what's fixable and what's not fixable in this big mess. We need to decide which of the non-conforming parts of Alta are fixable and which ones aren't. An example of not fixable is the density. No one's going to take a big bulldozer and take off the third floor of Alta. So there's some things that are just not fixable ever. Last year, the neighbors gave Wood Partners a list of fixable things, and at that time, Wood said nothing can be done until the classification of PD happens. There's just no money. We can't fix these things. I did not believe that statement from Wood at the time, and so I stood at this microphone and opposed that reclassification. My position at the time was we need to fix the fixable things, and then it makes sense to fix the unfixable with a PD. That is not every neighbor's position, and their opinions matter, and you guys should listen to those. But it is mine that once we fix all the fixable, the most helpful resolution is to get to a PD, because it does not help anyone to have a permanently non-conforming property in the city. It doesn't help the owners, doesn't help the city, it doesn't help the neighborhood. On October 27th, Bill from Wood Partners reached out to me and said, hey, let's get together for coffee and talk about what can be done to help the situation. He told me Wood is willing to begin fixing the fixable before the change to PD happens. That's a big change from last year. It didn't exist last year. That's important because the neighbors don't trust the city to follow through on any code enforcement. Then Wood took words and turned them into actions. They started writing checks, planting trees, ordering engineering plans, asking for a permit to move the dumpster, and things like that. It was really encouraging for me. They also reached out on many occasions to talk to the neighbors and answer questions and work with the neighborhood, including coming to our HOA meeting. And I appreciate them reaching out saying, how can we be engaged in the process? After seeing the progress that has already been made and seeing checks signed and purchase orders approved, irrigation put in, permits to move dumpsters sent to the city, and guys, that needs to be approved like right now. Like there's no reason that can't get approved. I'm no longer opposed to the change to PD because I believe Wood is committed to fixing the fixable, or in some places already has. And once the fixable is fixed, my opinion is the unfixable should be fixed by a PD for the benefit of everyone involved.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry, I'll do this again. Tyler Wallach.
Next speaker is Tyler Walsh.
Wood Partners, developer and the
My
applicant.
opinion is-
We are amenable.
Hey, Secretary, I think the echo is coming from the kiosk.
City council meeting or a date certain that, at whatever that next council meeting is. Yes, sir. Okay, sorry, I'll do this again. Tyler Wallach.
Next speaker is Tyler. Okay, our next speaker is Lisa Moore.
Amenable.
Hey, Secretary, I think the echo is coming from the kiosk.
City council meeting or a date certain that.
Yes, sir.
At whatever
The next city council meeting will be on February 17th.
Okay, sorry, I'll do this again. Tyler Wallach.
Next is Tyler.
So
Next
additionally, does anybody else?
is Lisa Moore.
This time while we've got it.
Hey, Secretary, I think the echo is coming from the kiosk.
City council meeting or a date certain that.
Yes, sir.
At
The next city council meeting will be on February. Mr. Mayor, we do have 4 members signed up to speak.
Tyler Wallach.
Next is Tyler.
So
Next.
additionally, does anybody else?
Sorry for the technical difficulties. Our next speaker is Tracy Hardy.
There's a little bit of an echo. I don't know if that's something I should hear or not.
The next
Um,
council meeting will
I'm
be
Jonathan
on
Sheffron, 500 Steeple Chase Trail, and yeah, I just had a thought.
Technology's great when it works, right?
Technical
You guys to consider.
difficulties.
So
Our next speaker is.
That's it. Okay. So with that, if the council wants to discuss, or if not, we'll entertain a motion to continue it to the next council meeting, February 17th, 2026.
Just a quick question. The reason why we're continuance is just in case there's a tie, you want to make sure that you're not breaking any laws, correct? That's the.
Yes, I need to see if I do have a conflict.
He's also prohibited from participating
Mhm.
if there is a conflict. If
Okay.
there's not a conflict, then he could participate even if he didn't have a vote.
All right. You have a question?
most, I think the
Yes, I need to see if I do have a conflict.
He's
The
also
neighbors are either
prohibited
gonna
from-
follow.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we continue P and Z case 2517 till the next regularly scheduled council meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
We need to decide which of the non-performing parts of Alta are fixable and which ones aren't. An example.
Technology.
No one's gonna tell neighbors are either gonna big.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we continue P and Z case 2517 until the next regularly
So
scheduled.
there's some things that are just
Second
not
that.
fixable.
All in favor?
Last year, the neighbors gave Wood Partners a list of fixable things, and at that time, Wood said which thing can be done until the classification of PD happened. There's just no metric.
All right. For the record, the motion passes unanimously.
Fixable.
All in favor?
My position with the last year, the neighbors gave the fixers a list of six, and then it means that that's.
All right, so next, we're going to move to public hearing on PZ case 25-20 to conduct a public hearing and consider a proposed zoning change from R1 Single Family Residential District to a PD planned development for properties located at 4365 Dick Price Road, parcel 04189140, Snyder ES Survey Abstract 1445, Tract 1A, dot 721, AC into plat D21 707184. 4365 South Dick Price Road, parcel 42293721, Snyder Addition, Block 1, Lot 1, and 4431 Dick Price Road, parcel 04189132, Snyder ES Survey, Abstract 1445, Tract 1, 1969-12 by 56.336, AC into plat D21 7007184, the city of Kennedale, Tarrant County, Texas 76060. It is 5:59 PM and we are going to open our public hearing. And Madam Secretary, do we have anybody requesting to speak?
No, sir.
No.
Guys, that needs to get approved like right now. Like, there's no reason that can't get approved. I'm
Madam
no
Secretary,
longer
do we have
opposed to the
anybody-
change to PD because I believe Wood is committed to fixing the fixable, or in some places.
All right, so we'll go ahead and close our hearing at 5:59 PM also. And the excuse me. So we will leave the public hearing open, I retract our hearing. I retract my previous statement, closing the public hearing at 5:59 PM. The hearing remains open. So it is our understanding that they have requested a continuation also. And I'm assuming to the next council meeting on February 17th, 2026. So I will open the floor if anybody has any comments, questions. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, if there's no questions, I'll do the motion to continue PZ case 25-20 till the next available normal scheduled hearing.
I'll second.
Comments, questions, otherwise. And do I ask all in favor? No? Okay.
Members signed up to speak.
Okay. So
Technical difficulties. Our next
all in favor?
Tracy Poverty.
And do I ask all in favor?
Jonathan Chevron, 500 Steeple Chase Trail, and, yeah.
Council, please cast your vote if you have not done so already. So
Our next.
all in favor? Said, okay. For everybody tuning in, the vote is in progress. The council wants to discuss, or if not, we'll entertain a motion to continue it to the next council meeting. Council, please cast your vote. February 17th already. Going vote in progress.
And the reason why we're continuing is just in case there's a tie, you want to make sure that you're not breaking this.
For everybody tuning in, the vote is in progress. Yes, I need to see if I do have a conflict. Okay, well, for the record, the vote passed unanimously. Okay, the vote passed unanimously for the record. Going vote in progress.
The reason why.
Okay. So we will call a roll call, back to the old way of doing things. Okay, for the record, the vote passed unanimously. Okay, the vote passed unanimously. All right. So all in favor?
Second.
And for the record, all opposed with a like sign. A roll call. Madam Secretary, the motion passes unanimously for our audience. If you're enjoying this, maybe you can bring in some popcorn and Cokes and we'll have a good time. So All in favor? And for the record, all opposed with a like sign. So now the public hearing is closed at 6:02 PM. Continued. Seriously, who's got the popcorn? Somebody go get popcorn. All right. So next, this brings us to PZ case number 25-21 to conduct a public hearing and consider a proposed zoning change from C2 General Commercial District to Industrial District for the property located at 7205 Hudson Village Creek Road, parcel 053-08534, Hudson Wade H. Survey Abstract 716, Track 2 of the City of Kennedale, Tarrant County, Texas 76060. And we're going to open the public hearing at 6:03 PM. Madam Secretary, anybody wishing to speak?
No, sir.
And we're going to open edition, block 1. All right, so if nobody is wishing to speak, then we are going to close the public hearing at 6:03 PM. All right, next, and we're moving to our last public hearing, PZ case 25-22 to conduct a public hearing and consider a proposed zoning change from OT4, Old Town Subdistrict 4, to PD Plan Development for the property located at 429 West Kennedale Parkway, parcel 431-21546, Woodley Acres Addition, Block 2, Lot 5R1R1 of the City of Kennedale, Tarrant County, Texas 76060. And we are going to open the public hearing at 6:04 PM. Madam Secretary, anybody wishing to speak?
No, sir.
No. All right, anybody? Then we will close the public hearing at 6:04 PM. Madam Secretary, anybody wishing to speak? Next, for your viewing pleasure and entertainment, we're going to move into our regular session. And this is going to bring us to our reports and announcements, updates from the City of Kennedale City Council and Mayor. Councilman Glover, we will start with you.
Thank you, Mayor. Not a lot of updates for me with the holidays going on, but I do want to make a quick announcement to the citizens. Put your recycling bins out tonight, not Saturday. Frontier will be picking up recycling tomorrow. So let's avoid having all the recycling cans out Saturday if we can. Thank you, sir.
I'll entertain a motion. Councilwoman Kobeck.
Not a whole lot either because of the holidays, but I did want to remind everybody that our area is under a winter storm warning. So please stay warm, be safe, look out for your neighbors, and don't forget pets and pipes.
Councilman Michaels.
I really don't have a whole lot that went on this last month, but I did attend the hazardous litigation. It was a public hearing. There was another one coming up in February. And then I attended the Tarrant County Regional Transportation. One of the keynotes that I've learned, the speaker at the time pretty well called DFW a state because we're growing 45% a year. So I was really kind of shocked on that. And then I attended the Regional 8, TML Regional 8 elections. And I had a great time at the Kennedale Historical Society lecture over a Russian monarch. It was pretty good. So, and that's it.
Councilman Navarez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I had also attended these two spots with Councilman Michaels as well. To expand on what he was saying, North Texas is the fastest growing region in the country. And if we were a state, we'd be the second fastest growing state in the country. That's how fast we're going. The projections are $7.8 million by 2030. I'm sorry, 7.8 million population by 2035 and 12.3 million by 2050. So that's how fast we are going in the area, to expand what he says. But the good news is all the communities, both counties, and all the boards that cover transportation are really focused on new technology, expanding roads. And the money that we have gotten in for the area for that has been overwhelmingly the majority from the federal government and the Texas cuts as well. So the good news is that as fast as we're growing, we're building it just as fast as that too. One more thing coming up, the chili cook-off is coming up on February 28th, the last Saturday of February. I have signed up the council to compete in the chili cook-off again this year. If you guys want to help, just let me know and we'll get some times on when to cook it. I know Kenneth is a little under the weather still, so I might need a little help there, but and that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Just in the interest of time, just as Councilwoman Kobeck mentioned, we do have some potentially bad weather coming up, pets, elderly folks, and are we going to have, if need be, any heating stations or anything on standby? If needed, okay, so just pay attention to cities, got plenty of communication devices. I know that's one thing you guys do a very good job at is communicating, so just pay attention if need be. And with that, I'll pass it to City Manager Hull.
Thank you. Yes, once again, if you would, just follow us on all of our social media outlets. Dealing with the weather or any other information you need, please follow us. Obviously, all the information's on our city website, Facebook, so on. So yeah, make sure you're following us. With that, we do have a presentation in reference to our safe route to schools presentation that will allow for the public to see the study that we went through and the repercussions of that, or what we can do as we move forward. Once we get to that point, we'll make another recommendation to the council what could improve the quality of life in that area and the transportation. To see the study that we went through and the repercussions of that, or what we can do as we move forward. Once we get to that point, we'll make another recommendation.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor,
Council
council members.
What
I'm just going to go over a study that was done for traffic concerns and recommendations, and this was done back in July of 2025, and this was for the 100, 200 blocks of Clover Lane Drive and the 100, 200 blocks of Mistletoe Drive. I believe y'all were provided with a copy of this report, so I'll refer back to that as I go through this. I've also got some 25 and some photographs for you here. 100 blocks of Clover Lane Drive or Mistletoe Drive.
Not a whole lot either because of
We're
the.
provided with a copy of this. So this particular project was was what was referred to as the Safe Routes to School project, and this was started back in 2017, as some of you may remember or may not remember. So this particular project was
Really don't have.
what was referred to as the safe. And basically what this was a study that was done around those areas in order to improve the routes to school for our citizens, kids that would walk or bike and things like that. So the study was done, and as we all know, probably back 2024, they started construction on this project, and they started doing this, and we have the bump outs that you see now on those roadways. So those would be the ones that you see on Clover Lane in front of Delaney, and then also the ones on Mistletoe that you see in front of Arthur Elementary School. The idea there was to slow down traffic and to provide some safe distances for crosswalks and some additional sidewalks for our students that walk back and forth to school. Excuse me. Some of the things that have been implemented that you see are the bump outs. And obviously the addition of the sidewalks in the areas around Arthur Elementary School. Those were completed last year, early, I believe in 2024 into 2025. Some of the things that have been implemented that you see are the bump outs. Some photographs here I'll show you. And obviously the addition of sidewalks in the areas around Arthur Elementary School. Those were completed last year.
The good news is
early,
I
believe 2024
and all the boards that cover transportation are really focused on new technology, expanding roads.
Here we go.
And
Photograph
money
here,
that
I'll
we
give you.
have gotten in for the area for that has been overwhelmingly.
These are the bump outs that they were talking about that they built, along with the additional sidewalks you can see along the side of the streets. Currently, right now, after they've been installed and we've been kind of watching over there, we're seeing that these things are actually doing what they're supposed to do. They're working. They're slowing traffic down. And one of the other concerns was, especially in front of Arthur Elementary School, was the traffic was getting backed up because people tended to park along the curb line in order to drop their kids off and pick them up. And what this did was kind of restructure that area to prevent some of that and to keep the traffic flowing. I know the district has done a good job in bringing the drop-off points around off of Arthur and back up to the back of the school, which is what they're doing now. Folks pick them up.
Are we going to have
what this did was kind of
any
restructure that area
stations
to prevent some of
on
that
standby
and to keep the traffic
if needed?
flowing.
Okay, so
I know
just
the
pay
district has done a
attention
good job
to
bringing the
city,
drop-off
got
points
plenty of
around
communication devices. I know that's one thing
and back up to the
you
back.
guys do a very good job at
Is
is
what they're doing
communicating.
now.
Pay attention.
This is another photograph here again along in front of Arthur Elementary School where you can see the crosswalks. You can see how the bump out kind of a little further back in the photograph is out far enough to where people can't really park along that edge all the way up. And it allows a better clearance for that crosswalk as people want to use that crosswalk from sidewalk to sidewalk there.
With that, we do have a presentation.
Kind of a little further back. One of the questions that come about with this was, I know there was some discussion about the one-way hours of operation for Mistletoe. What we've done is kind of watching that. We've seen that those hours do work to some extent. And I think one of the things that recommendations for this plan was to make Mistletoe one way all the time, as opposed between the hours that are posted. And so they moved, at one point, we moved the hours of operation that were out there from 7:45 in the morning to 7 a.m. So we made them a little bit earlier to get the students in as the school schedules kind of change. And then in the afternoons, instead of being from 3:15 to 4:15, which is what they were back in 2015 and 2016, because some of the hour changes, they moved them to 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So there were some questions if it would be better to have that just be full-time one way instead of having hours of operation. It might actually solve some of the confusion points from the citizens or people that want to turn and go against that traffic during those times. So there were some questions. So this particular would be better to have that project, which the time one way was what we're. Here you can see some of the signs that are posted. These are the ones that kind of lay that out for people as they are going back eastbound on Mistletoe, going towards the school, kind of saying, hey, don't enter between these hours. Well, if a driver's not paying attention to that, they're liable to go that way and cause some confusion down there, maybe a traffic backup or some problems in that area. So there were also some questions that were raised during this, and part of this study is that there were questions about were the bump outs in front of Arthur too wide? Were they going to keep traffic from passing safely in that area being two-way? And so what we did is we went out and we asked the fire department to bring a fire truck out. We parked one of our patrol units next to it. And as you can see, there's ample space there, 2 vehicles to pass. One of the things I thought I've kind of found curious about this was that if this was one way all the time, it would alleviate some of these concerns. And also, if somebody broke down or something was happening there by one of these bump outs, there would still be ample room on that other side for traffic to go through and pass by that as they went by. Those would alleviate some of these concerns early. This is just another photograph in front of Arthur Elementary School. And what this is showing the distance, kind of a picture between the curb lines there. And one of the things is that these bulb outs are about 9 feet wide. Just out of curiosity, I was kind of looking at that and I thought, well, would a vehicle fit in there? So I actually went out and measured one of our patrol cars in my pickup. And so the width of one of these bump outs is about 9 feet. So you figure the typical full-size truck or a full-size SUV or car is a little over 6 feet wide. And then you figure if you were going to park 18 inches from a curb, you would still come in a little bit under 9 foot, but it would still allow ample space for vehicles to pass. So the width of these is probably just about right. And that was what they recommended when they did them. Park 18 inches and what this is 20 feet from the curb line to the bump out. So that's ample space. As you saw in the photograph before, we can get a fire truck and a full-size vehicle in there. Back up, that's what I recommend they did, which is what they're doing now. It's just another example of the signage that's up there now. This is just a one-way sign showing, hey, this is a one-way between these hours of the day. And there are several of those around that area in there. So just another photograph of another one-way sign there on Mistletoe, and that would be west of the school. One-way sign, crosswalk. You see all the bumps. Now, this is actually in front of one of the entrances there. So again, this is, I believe this is coming out the end of one of the side streets there. Can't remember if it's Paul or Timberland. Just advising drivers, this is one way during these hours. If the idea here would be to kind of make this one way all the time, which I know is probably part of some of the recommendations that are in the study. One of the things that would be required would be to go in and put the signage in. And the way I looked at it was kind of what I figured out from looking at the map is that we would have to have 8 signs would need to be installed. Some of the recommendations in order to show that. So that would be on your side streets and then your cross street down there. The hours of operation, the way I looked at it was, again, this is just another photograph. This is a full-size SUV and a full-size pickup in front of Arthur, showing that there's adequate room there to get around. One of the questions I know that the fire chief had asked me was the width of the street. And worrying about maybe a fire lane or something. But one of the good things about these bulb outs is that they're not a real high curb. So if you did have something occur over there, you can still get a fire apparatus, an ambulance, or a vehicle over those without any problem. Some of the points from the citizens of the street want to turn. Another close up of that, just kind of give you an idea. The distance between the outsides of the vehicles and the curb lines. Those are represented there in that photograph. You can see some of the signs that are posted without any problem. The actual width of the street there is 29 feet, and so that took that 9 feet, little less than 9 feet off the total width of the street when they put the bulb outs in. These hour lines. Well, if a driver's not paying attention to that, they're liable to go that way. So the recommendations that we had was that 9 feet. Painting them bright yellow as opposed to the green and just to color the concrete, and that would match the reflectors that are on them, and that would just be more visibility so that people would see them. They'd be aware of them. I don't know that people are parking on top of them or hitting them, but we think painting them yellow would probably help somewhat. And then also if a decision was made to make Mistletoe one way all the time, that would obviously be an ordinance change that would have to be addressed by council and you folks. Alleviate any questions about any of that, and went through that pretty fast.
The question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have any idea at this time about the cost of potentially doing the painting and installing the 8 signs?
I do not, and that was something that I would have to get with Director Seagram about and get some bids put in for that, but we could get that information to you if that was something you decided that you wanted to do.
Yeah, at this time about the cost of potentially doing the painting.
One of the things.
So it'd be like 700 times the 8. 700 total. Okay.
Would a vehicle fit in there?
Thank you, Christian. I have one other question. If at some point in the future we decided to make Mistletoe one way, have we given any thought to like some kind of public information campaign to make sure that people knew that? I mean,
I think without a doubt, we would want to inform the public, and we could probably do that not only through our city website, our Facebook pages, but we could also get with the school district. And we'd probably ask them to, hey, please announce this. And this wouldn't be something that we'd want to do midstream in the middle of the school year. This is something we would probably want to consider approaching and taking care of during the summer hours.
that's why I was asking the question, so that we were thinking ahead. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Hey, please announce this. And this wouldn't be something. Another example.
So my only comment is I have spoken with residents who live on Mistletoe who told me that they have forgotten about the bump outs, especially when it's dark outside, and just driven right into them, which is a jarring experience. So I think painting will be good. If we could add some sort of flashing light to them or something else, that may also help without restricting the ability to get over them in the middle of an emergency. On the photo you had with the apparatus and the cruiser, how close, I'm just curious, how close is the cruiser to, yeah?
Now, we didn't get out there with a tape measure and take pictures of them, but it's wide enough for a person obviously to walk.
They can squeeze by. Yeah.
Yeah, you can walk through there. And as you can see in that particular image, the fire apparatus is a little further off the curb line than what the patrol car is. So I think if they had to hug that curb, you could probably get somebody on a bicycle or maybe two people side by side through there.
The report was very thorough. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
And if you have 8 signs, the fire apparatus is a little further off.
Any other questions, comments?
So that would be on your side. If they had to hug that, and those are brought, I would get something.
Got one comment, but it's really more of a statement. I'm looking at the 29 foot, and then you said the bump out's 9 foot, which will give us 20 foot. I want to say what, 90% of our streets in Kennedale are 20 foot wide, right? So, I mean, we're not having issues with the other stuff in the city. I know Old Town's 20 foot wide. New Hope Road is going to be 20 foot wide. So, I mean, I can understand the bump outs, but I mean, they do make an LED light system that you can put where the reflectors are. And I don't know how much that costs, but that would remind people, because you can see those lights during the daytime. It'll just sit there and flash constantly, but.
If I have a little bit different perspective on that, it's the offsets of the bumps, the 9 feet, and then it's on the other side. And this is mostly on Mistletoe, which narrows down the road to the middle of it, which is not 20 feet. And I think that's the perception when you drive on it for the neighbors. And we can measure all you want, but when you look at it, because it's one here and then one here, that just takes away the sides of the street and narrows it about half. And I think that's what the concern was with the narrowness, especially over by Arthur. And that's my 2 cents. If we do change some stuff, I would like to see maybe some flashing lights to make the neighbors aware, you know, because I've driven that neighborhood since 2007 myself. If something changes, I would probably get pulled over again in that neighborhood. And I say again, and so that's just kind of my 2 cents. We don't have to have 8 flashing signs, but maybe 4 flashing signs just to make everybody aware if it's one way, or even if we just keep it at those time periods in the morning and the evening.
And I think just to piggyback off what you're saying, I think the perception of it makes the road look narrower. Was actually kind of part of the purpose of having them, is because I think if you're driving a vehicle, it kind of makes you want to slow down if you think the pathway is a little bit narrower. And obviously part of this original intent was to kind of slow traffic and keep people safe and just get people to slow down a little bit.
It definitely does slow traffic, but as a parent with kids at both of those schools, when it's a busy day, when we're all parents there, it feels like it's a little bit more dangerous because like you said, everybody parks on the right or the left.
Right.
And there's a lot of walking congestion, not at the crosswalks, and mostly at the crosswalks. So as people are driving by, I'm walking with kids or other parents are walking with kids, and it just seems like they could just pop out between the people that are parked there temporarily. And I think that's also just, again, the worst case scenario during this process, not the best day, but the worst day.
Understood, sir.
Mostly at the crosswalk. So as people are driving by, I'm walking with kids or other parents.
Anybody else?
Public, and we could probably do that not only through our city website.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. So that's going to move us to financial reports for the city. Mr. Horton.
Midstream in the middle of the school year.
Good evening. I'll be going over 2 reports. I'll do the month close for December 1st, then we'll move into the first quarter investment report. So with December, I mentioned it's 25% through the year, the fiscal year. It's 1 full quarter. Our property tax revenues, you can see right off the top, they're behind. We're at 30% of budget. We were at 30% of budget on 12/31. This previous year, we were at almost 62%. I did some looking into on that. I did confirm that our levy was calculated correctly. It does appear that people are stalling. We have until January 31st to pay property tax. And I looked up through Friday, we're at 89% of budget. So we had a lot of deposits come in January that usually hit in December. So there's just a timing difference there. Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, bit of a timing difference there, but no concern. Sales tax, we're at 6.4%. Last year, we're at 8.6. Again, not a large concern there. A decent part of our budget was based on a roofing company in town, and there aren't a lot of roofs going up in the fall and winter time. Our general fund expenditures, we're still under pace, 25% of the year complete, 22% spent. And our fund balance, our reserve is at 30%. This time last year, we were at 47%. The main driver with that gap is this deposit timing difference. Water sewer fund, we are on pace still. Same with our stormwater fund. EDC, sales tax revenues, were actually ahead of last year with the way that's calculated. The rental fees, whenever we had to have this published, were not received yet. So that's 16% of the budget. We've since received those, so we're back on pace there. Operations expenditures, a little bit ahead. That's due to us paying the one loan off in full at the beginning of the fiscal year. And our town center expenditures are behind pace. Do you have any questions on the December monthly statement? Okay, I'll move on to the investment report. And I will be brief on the investment report. The main difference, we did start our transition to Logic. So we've been slowly moving funds from TextPool into Logic. Those are both pooled funds. Logic does allow us to invest into highly rated commercial paper. So we've been moving chunks into Logic from TextPool. So the biggest change, it's really not a change in our investment mix. It's just a change in between accounts. So that's all pooled funds. I can tell everyone's really excited about this, so I will move on quicker.
Actually, Director Horton, I did have one comment or
Yeah.
question on this. I see that we have about 50% of our money in U.S. Treasury notes and bills. I know historically T-bills have been the safe investment, but things are changing. Do you feel like that's still the safest place for us to park half our money?
Pull over again.
There are two factors to that. One of them is we do have that rotating strategy with Frost. I don't see an advantage in pulling money out of Frost, a significant advantage in putting that into a pool until we need the funding. We have done some short-term investing into T-bills that were a little bit higher percentage than what we're getting in the pooled funds. But overall, we would get more in the short term if we have everything in Logic. But that's today. We're trying to predict 12 to 18 months from now. I've heard both sides of the economy. Some people think it's great. Some people don't. Leaning on people I trust, the T-bills are safe, and I'm pretty confident in what we have right now.
All right, thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
As a parent,
We're trying to predict 12. As far as upcoming action, I did mention Frost. We're going to keep rotating with the tranche, although we are going to start seeing a significant amount of money due to Grossman as the fire station remodel continues. With Baird, we have closed our investment account with Baird. This will be the last quarterly report that I have Baird on there until at some point in the future we possibly go back to them. But having something on our report with a zero balance really isn't beneficial. With BV Private Wealth, you can see we did have a significant amount of money in money market, and that has since been moved to agency bonds. Those are different from T-bills, and an agency is like Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, something like that, where it's government, but it's not a T-bill. But that was action that took place immediately following the scope of this report. Are there any other questions on the investment report or the monthly report? I can answer either. Okay.
John, I know you and I have discussed this a couple of times over the years. With the new way that TAD's doing projections, they're not going to do any evaluations for the first 3 years. How are you feeling now that we're about halfway through that right now for our projections in the future, especially let's just say if growth was just status quo? You brought up TAD or something.
I'm not as concerned with it because we have a lot of people in Kennedale that have been in their house for a long time. The longer you've been in your house, the larger gap you have just inherently between the taxable value and the market value. So reevaluating that property won't make a difference because there's such a large gap between those two. As you're still moving up, you're not hitting the cap market value. Where what does impact us are new sales because they're almost locked in for 3 years. We get the bump for the new sale price and then it stays flat. New development but at that's going from zero to a dollar amount. So in that sense, it wouldn't be growing as fast as I would like, but us just having a new construction to begin with would be welcomed. This time last year, development or 7%. At that, driver going from thank you dollar amount. In that sense, it wouldn't be growing.
All right, thank you.
Water sewer fund.
So this brings us to our consent agenda. And if anybody wants to pull anything for individual consideration, please do so now. Otherwise, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
All right. And do we have a second?
I will second the motion.
All in favor? Are we doing the? Do so now. Otherwise, I will entertain a motion.
Do you have any questions on the?
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
All right. And do we have a second? Voting is in progress. All in favor?
I will be brief.
Are we doing? And the motion passed unanimously. And with that being said, we will now move on to our items for individual consideration, discussion, and/or action. Up first is ordinance number 791, PZ case 25-17 to resume the proposed and consider the proposed zoning change from multifamily to PD. And we voted in the public hearing to continue that to our next meeting. So if there's no further discussion, I would entertain a motion to table that.
I'll make a motion that we table the vote on PZ case 25-17 until our next council meeting.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right.
We do have that rotating strategy with Frost.
And all in favor?
And putting that into a pool until we need that.
Or excuse me, please cast your votes.
We have done short-term investing in a T-bill, but we're a little bit higher percentage.
And the motion passed unanimously. All right, moving on. We've got ordinance number 792, PZ case number 25-20 to consider a proposed zoning change from R1 single family residential district to a planned development. And the public hearing was continued. And unless there is any further comment, discussion by the council, I will entertain a motion to table.
I'll make a motion to table the vote on PZ case 25-20 until our next council meeting.
Do we have a second?
I will second it.
All right. And it popped up. So council, please cast your vote. And voting is in progress.
City Secretary, I did not get yeah, there it is.
Really isn't
I will
beneficial.
second it.
All
Maybe
right.
private wealth, you can see. we did have-
And the motion passed unanimously. Please cast
That
your
has
vote.
since been moved to agency bonds. Those are different from T-bills and an
And voting,
agency. Like,
We're getting the hang of it already. I love it. I love it. All right.
that was actually. So
Next, we've got ordinance number 793, PZ case number 25-21 to consider a proposed zoning change from C2 general commercial district to I industrial district for the property located at 7205 Hudson Village Creek Road, parcel 0530854, Hudson Wade H. Survey Abstract 716, Track 2 of the City of Kennedale, Tarrant County, Texas 76060. And I will open the floor for discussion. Located at 7205 Hudson Village Creek Road, parcel 0530854.
I'm not as concerned with it because we have a lot of people in Kennedale that have been in their house for a long time. The longer you've been in your house, the longer the gap you have just between the taxable value and the market value. So reevaluating that property won't make a difference because there's such a large gap between those two. As you're still moving up, you're not hitting the cap mark. We have a lot of people in Kennedale. What does impact us are our new sales. You've been in your house, they're almost locked in for 3 years. Have just the new sale between the taxable value and the market value. New development or reevaluating that's going from zero because there's such a large. So in that sense, it wouldn't be growing as you're still moving up. But us just having, we have a lot of new construction to begin.
Mike, what do you know? That helps a little bit. Ed McCoy, Director of Development Services, or here at Community Development here in Kennedale. So this is case 2521. This is a fairly simple zoning change. The property in question is currently zoned as C2. This is the location that we're talking about. This is the aerial picture that you're seeing on the screen. This is near Hudson Village Creek on the north side. This is a depiction of where the zoning is, showing you that the property is C2. You'll see that there is mostly industrial zoning around this property. There is a small manufactured home community just to the west of the proposed site. Unlike most manufactured home communities, this is a fairly low density one. There's fairly large lots with individual manufactured homes on there. And this is an area that is currently shown on our future land use plan for industrial use, right? And so you can see that the proposal is consistent with the land use plan. And therefore, it is generally been determined by staff to be consistent and appropriate. We recommend in favor of approval. This was considered by the Planning and Zoning Commission at their last meeting. They voted in favor unanimously. We have received no comments from the public, either in favor of or against this particular request. I'm able to, or I will attempt to try to answer any questions should you have them at this time. So if there's no further discussion, I would entertain a motion by the Planning and Zoning Commission at their last meeting. They voted in favor unanimously. We have received
Any questions, discussion items?
favor of or against this particular request.
If not, I will entertain a motion.
Did you have them at this time?
We have a second.
I'll second it.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve ordinance number 793, PZ case number 25-21.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Council, please cast your votes. Entertain a motion. It's going to take some getting used to. And the motion passed unanimously.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve ordinance number 793, PZ case number 25-21.
And for the record, the motion passed unanimously. All right, next, this brings us to ordinance number 794, PZ case 25-22, to consider a proposed zoning change from Old Town 4, Old Town Subdistrict 4 to PD Plan Development for the property located at 429 West Kennedale Parkway, parcel 431-21546, Woodley Acres Edition, Block 2, Lot 5R1, R1 of the City of Kennedale, Tarrant County, Texas 760. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Once again, Ed McCroy, Director of Community Development. This is a request for a planned development district. The property is located here along the southwest side of Business 287. It's a site of the old Camper World site. This aerial photo you can see is a bit dated. The business is no longer functioning, and there are none of these vehicles that are on there.
Getting the hang of it already. I love it.
At this time.
I love it.
This is a map showing the zoning of the area. It's currently zoned OT4, which is Old Town number 4, which is one of your commercial districts in the Old Town district. And in this particular case, the request is based on the underlying Old Town district. They are simply going to request some of the development standards within the Old Town district to be modified, but all of the other ones will remain in place exactly as they have been in the past. Right? So this is a depiction showing this is actually a copy of the future land use plan, indicating that this is an area that is designated for general commercial uses in this particular area. The nature of the business that's going to be located here that has met with us, they are actually a fence company. They are from the United Kingdom, and this will be their first foray into investments in the United States. So they have a substantial amount of property. And in fact, if you can see my icon here, this little area down here is actually, they own this property as well, but they're currently showing this area to be undeveloped. Tina, is there a way I could get the agenda packet on here real quick? So actually, they've got a presentation, the application, the applicants here, I believe, are here today. And they would like to make a presentation, if you're so inclined, as to the nature of what it is that they're proposing. They can describe their business model a little bit better than I have. The staff proposal is in line with the requests that they have made. I will mention to you that the Planning and Zoning Commission considered the planned development district that you have in your packets. They did recommend in favor unanimously. There were a few questions that they left to the council to determine, and that had to do primarily with questions about hours of operation. You'll notice that the ordinance that we submitted to you indicates a standard time that corresponds to typical operations here. In Kennedale, starting at 7 a.m., for example. The applicants would prefer a slightly earlier start time based on their business model. I'll let them go into the reasons why they would like that. That would be one of those things that we would modify in the planned development district if you're so inclined to do so. The basic changes that we're looking at here primarily relate to changes in storage, inside and outside storage. This is unlike what you might see in a lot of what might be considered more industrial uses. This is really more, even though they're using construction type products, this is really more like a retail operation, right? And just so happens that the materials that they're selling, right, happen to be fairly large and fairly bulky in nature. And so because of that, they will need a fairly large area of outside to place those things, right? They're dealing with fence panels and gates and things of that nature, which are fairly bulky in nature. And so that's why having a warehouse to contain all of those things would be a bit prohibitively expensive. I believe that they would like to have some of the areas within the existing building on the site, which is about 5,000 square feet or so. Those would be where you have wood panels and things of that. They'll also have their sales operations within those areas where their salespeople work with customers. And then, of course, they will have some loading areas on the site for bringing in various trucks and things of that nature to go ahead and get the products out to their end customers. Staff has determined that this particular request does correspond with the comprehensive plan. As you can see, his general commercial here, and in some of the more aspirational aspects of the comprehensive plan as well. We find that this redevelopment, if you will, is in line with Kennedale's goal. And I believe personally that this is probably a very good adaptive reuse for this particular site, considering some of the other things that could go in there. Large buildings like this tend to be somewhat difficult to find new tenants for. And oftentimes they are users that would be have more negative impacts than we anticipate that this one will have. And so that's one of the things that's motivating our recommendation today, is that this is a relatively clean reuse. And really what they're asking for is just a little bit of modifications on the storage elements so that they can conduct their business in the way that will make them successful. We would like to see them be successful as well, should the zoning be approved this afternoon or this evening. If you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to try to answer them. I have included within your packet, as I said, the particular plan development district. And you will notice that in that district, it will be set up so that there is a segment A or an exhibit A, which talks about the specific development standards on the site. And then exhibit B would be the site plan on that, showing how they would develop. They would be required in this plan development district to substantially conform to their concept plan if you've approved it as staff has recommended. So in other words, they're not going to be able to just do things any which way that they would like. They have to actually operate in accordance with the concept plan that you've been provided. So if there's any other questions, if you have any questions this time, I'll be happy to try to answer them.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there any opposition?
No, ma'am. It was considered by the Planning and Zoning Commission, like I said, and we received nothing from any of the surrounding property owners or general members of the public.
So I understand that they are wanting to store some of their product on site. We're not talking about anything hazardous.
No, ma'am.
What about, would it cause or exacerbate any drainage issues?
Well, the site is pretty well 100% impervious now. And so it would be hard for me to see how they would have any additional impact on it, given that there's very little space for them to actually build anything on there that would make that situation worse. It's about as covered as it can get.
And since I'm assuming that they would be bringing in materials and taking out product, have we had an opportunity yet to do any kind of traffic impact study?
No, ma'am. That being the case, they have not submitted one. Given the nature of the previous use on this particular site, I tend to believe, now I haven't done a study, but my gut hunch is that with the possible exception of some tractor trailers coming in at some various times, given the early nature of when they're looking for, if you would grant that earlier time frame, my best guess is that a lot of that tractor trailer traffic would get in and out of that site outside of your peak hours, of your traffic hours. So whatever impact they have, I think would be mitigated by that to some extent if you allow them those earlier operating hours. Secondarily, there is already a significant amount of traffic on that particular road. And given the nature of what they've described to us, and the fact that Camper World was there and it was as I understand it, was fairly successful business. So there was a lot of movement in and out of product, et cetera. My gut hunch is even if there is an impact, it probably would not be of a sufficient amount to mandate any kind of significant improvements to any of the facilities upstream or downstream from this site. I don't think it would probably have enough impact that it would be measurable to the effect that we could then say, hey, you have to put a traffic light someplace, or you have to, put in a left turn lane or something. But again, I'm just saying that's my gut hunch after doing this for 20 some years or so, that I don't think there would be much, but to be absolutely certain of that, you would have to do a traffic impact study as well.
So your best guess is in those areas that I asked about, nothing significant from the former person, occupant of the site?
I'm sorry, I don't understand in
I
terms of,
said, based on your best educated guess, in those areas that I asked about, there would be no significant impact from the former occupant of the site.
my best guess is, and based on the plans that the applicants have shared with us, that this site would likely have less impact on adjacent users and on the traffic impact than what we experienced in the past. Now, once again, I don't have any direct experience in that, direct knowledge of it, but what they've shared with us indicates to me that this is a fairly efficient operation. They get in, they get out. They tend to prepare the loads that they need to load up the day before. So when the customers come in, they're ready to go. And so once again, I tend to think that there may be some, I can't say there won't be. And as the business grows, of course, those impacts would grow over time. But without a study, I wouldn't be able to say with absolute certainty what that is. But my guess is it shouldn't be huge.
Thank you.
If you have any questions for me, I'll come in, try to answer them. Ready to go. I have, so once again, I tend to think that maybe some.
I do have a couple questions for you.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I have some questions too, so.
Mine would be real quick. They're asking to be a PD because they want a couple of exceptions to the Old Town. What are those exceptions? You mentioned just one just now. There would be earlier hours for delivery. What are those?
Right.
Yeah. Can you expand on some of those exceptions that the PD?
Yes, the number one thing, like I say, is the outside storage. Old Town limits outside storage right now, right? You simply can't do it. And so this was kind of a non-conforming thing in the previous use, even though they were parking vehicles and things of that nature. So that would be one of them, allowing them to operate with that kind of storage. But this is specifically related to, and I've written the PD, so it's specifically related to fence companies. So it wouldn't be one thing that if you approve that, you're likely to have something far more objectionable pop in, right? Tried to write this ordinance so that it is as customized as we can for this specific user, which would make it difficult for some, if something would fall apart, they would choose a different location, et cetera. That would be more challenging for someone of a different, more negative use to jump in and use that PD. So that's mostly inside storage and outside storage are the primary issues. The time of day that we're talking about in terms of when they would be allowed to open. And trying to think if there's anything else on there. More negative. Like I said, the PD is in your package. I can pull the PD up if you'd like. It's detailed in the ordinance that you've got in your packet. I don't have it right in front of
And I apologize. This is my ordinance in the last couple of days. So on the flip side of that, we're going to put into the PD contract some of the spirit and preservation that Old Town zoning allows.
Yes, we've not done anything in the Old Town District as it relates to building design or those kind of architectural standards. None of that has been modified. The only thing that's been modified are the specific things that we've identified in your packets, which they primarily relate to business operations. I will mention to you
that one of the things that I had placed into the planned development district was a requirement that they only have one-way traffic through the site for loading purposes, and that they have a right in, right out turning only on the site. There's some dispute that some folks have with relationship to that. That was my recommendation based on the traffic in the area. It's fairly heavy. Now, it tends to be pretty one-directional in the morning and in the evening, right? Folks tend to flow up north in the morning and they tend to flow up south in the evening. But because of that, when you experience those levels of high traffic, right in, right outs tend to be more safe, especially when you're talking about reducing accident potentials, because you tend to be reducing the number of conflict points that can exist. A full access driveway or allowing left turns out of the site. You can imagine at certain times when traffic is moving fast and there's a lot of it, that there would be potentially a greater accident potential in that situation. But like I say, I wrote that into the ordinance. The applicants may have an interest in having a full access there. The site is physically able right now for you to have a full access into the site. There's a center turn. So you can make a left turn into that site from any direction, going north or south. So we're not recommending at this point in time, or I'm not recommending in the ordinance that I drafted, any physical modifications to the site, like your typical pork chop type raised curb elements. The ordinance I drafted was to make that requirement based on signage and painting and striping. And most folks tend to comply with that. You're always going to have some folks that, even if you put a curb there, they'll drive over the curb. Right? There's some folks that will never follow those rules. But that was a recommendation, and that's actually written in the plan development district.
My last question is, what are some of the items that the new property owners will have to comply with because the previous owners were grandfathered into their non-compliance, owning it for as long as they did?
Well, one thing is that on that site right now, there's a paint booth inside there. They're going to be doing some very minor, they've indicated some very minor manufacturing work, only in one specific section. And that's primarily do some minor modifications to things like gates and other things like that. People need some customization. So they're not taking raw materials and manufacturing a gate, right? They're not smelting things and pouring it out there. These would be like tweaking things in some ways, maybe bending a bar or something like that, twisting it, or maybe attaching some little decorative elements to the things to meet their particular customer's desire. That paint booth is going to go away. There's a lot of mezzanines in the building right now. There are a number of code issues that are health and safety in that building right now, where they don't have adequate fire separation. We understand that they will be fixing all of those. And in order to get a certificate of occupancy, they would need to bring the building up to current building standards. So that's another benefit of this, is the building will ultimately be far safer, when they get going than it is right now for everyone. Much less likely to catch fire. I will also mention in terms of the impact, that one of the things I've recommended is the lighting around the property be shielded. There's a number of lighting standards around the periphery of the property right now. Those don't appear to be shielded. And so there's a good possibility that some of that light is actually spilling out onto adjacent properties. We would be requiring them to either put new light units on top of there or to shield the ones that they currently have, so that we would reduce the amount of glare that might be coming off the site. Jump in. So there's a good possibility. That's mostly inside.
Thank you.
Light is actually spilling out on the primary issues. We would be requiring them.
I got about 3 questions for you. One of the questions is, they're going to be storing material. So it's a fence company. So we're looking at pallets of fence panels, right? Or pickets.
They have described the fact that they will be using some products that are made.
So my question is that's why they want the PD, is because of the outside storage. Another concern I have is with the being backed up to residential, how high is this material going to be stacked?
I think that would be a question better answered by the applicants.
Okay. And then another thing under, I guess, Exhibit B, development standards.
Yes, sir.
When it comes to the right in, right out, I definitely have a problem with that. I don't know if you ever drove a semi, fire truck, anything big, but one of the hardest turns to make is a right-hand turn. So if you're trying to make a right-hand turn, if I was driving a tractor trailer, I would have to be in the turn lane to make a right-hand turn to get into this property. So I would be in the suicide lane going across 2 lanes of traffic to get into the property. So, I mean, I know you're trying to do this for safety, but I think we're creating a bigger problem by just saying you can only make a right-hand turn, because if they make a right turn leaving the property, where are they going to go?
They'll have to go down until they can reach an appropriate point to turn around, probably at a signalized intersection. That would be
Okay,
our
well, the
preference.
next signal light's going to be Corey Edwards. They can't make a U-turn. That's no trucks on either side of that street. So now we're forcing trucks down our neighborhoods. So the other one would be going up to Town Center. Of course, I mean, I don't know if you've seen a truck trying to go into Town Center. It's a nightmare. So there's no place for them to turn around. So if they can make it safely to go make a left-hand turn, get into the suicide lane, then they can merge over to the right-hand lane. I mean, I don't see putting a restriction on a business that you can only come in one way and go out the other way. And the other ones is the hours of operations. On this one, it's showing 7A to 7P. But what I would like to see is, you said they're going to be doing some light manufacturing, which I'm assuming they're going to be building pickets, maybe? I don't know. But I would love to see something where on Saturdays and Sundays that they can't do any light manufacturing, to give someone a break that lives in that area, so they don't have to wake up with someone nailing wood on Sunday. So other than that, but I'll ask him when he does his presentation.
And I will just mention that that is specified for a particular location in the building. So there's specific numbered areas on the plan where that activity would take place. So the plan development would not allow the manufacturing activities across the entire site. It's only in those specific areas which are within the building. And so that should reduce some of the impacts in terms of noise or dust or things of that nature. It tends to reduce it pretty significantly when you do the work inside. So the plan development would not allow
So
manufacturing activity.
I'll echo a couple of the comments. One, my concern was the hours of operation and the pickup zone. The area that's identified as the loading area is adjacent to the residential, and what my concern would be is that
They will be.
when the fence companies come to pick up their materials, they're usually driving diesel trucks with trailers, which we've talked about, the left-right turn. And they're going to pull down that narrow part of their driveway and then sit there and idle and wait to get loaded up. And I think that's just going to create problems for your department from a noise standpoint, a noise complaint standpoint, and also for the residents who are adjacent to that. So I think if we do move forward with the 6 a.m. start time, I would like to see something that prohibits the crews from pulling into the property until 6 a.m. Meaning they don't get there at 5:30, so they're the first in, first out, so they can get to the job sooner. And then they sit there and idle for 30 minutes or longer while they're waiting for them to open up. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I understand. If they're waiting outside the site to go on the site, for example, I guess that would be how you define hours of operation, right? And if hours of operation means that they cannot have vehicles enter the site before those timeframes. If we catch them, on that site during those prohibited times, then that would be a violation, obviously. If they're outside of the site, then it would be a matter of traffic enforcement. If they're parked along the road in places where they're not allowed to park.
Correct. And so again, this all kind of feeds into the decision, but I think going back to Mayor Pro Tem's comment, turning left from the center lane would be easier if you're pulling a trailer. That may be where they wait, but that could have impact to the other businesses. But as far as preventing them from entering the facility, I suspect a fence company could build a fence to keep them out until they open up. But we'll let that kind of get in the presentation. That's where my concern is at, is just being good neighbors. And they say, good fences make good neighbors, but also have to think about the sound impact that would happen. If there's a chance to reconfigure the site to change where the pickup zone is and pull it away from the existing neighbors, I would also love to see that or discuss that more as well. But yeah, there on the drawing, the top sliver of red in the very top of the screen, that's the pickup zone. And then right behind that are about 4 houses to the north. There's a chance to reconfigure the site to change where the pickup zone is. Thank you. That's it for my.
Sorry, I didn't have that on there. I didn't realize I had put that on there.
To kind of go along with that, it is also important to keep in mind that those neighbors, they are already catching a lot of issues because of the southeast landfill as far as noise and things. I mean, when we're hearing noise from that entity at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, we really want to not have them getting it from the other side from this company. So we do need to keep that in mind. And things, I mean, when we're hearing noise.
Any other questions for me? If not, I would like to, if with your accedance, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask the representatives of the company to come forward and present their case to you, if you're so inclined to allow that.
Yes.
And I don't see putting a restriction on a business that you can only
Questions for me?
come in one way and go out the other.
With your
And the other ones is the hours of
representatives of
operation.
the company to come forward and present
On
their
this
case
one,
to
it's
you,
going 7 a.m.
if you're
to
so
7 p.m.
inclined to allow that.
Yes.
But what I would like to see is, you said they were going to be doing some light manufacturing, which.
Hey, everyone. Thanks so much for taking the time to consider our application here for plan development on this site. My name is Palmer Thomas. I'm the commercial real estate broker helping my client First Fence with the site selection as they enter the United States to expand their successful retail-focused fence company where they've managed to scale it pretty significantly in the UK. So we evaluated a large number of sites and we landed upon this one here in Kennedale, and we're excited about making the positive investment both economically and visually to the site, which we're going to outline both in these foam boards to start, and then we're going to go through the full presentation to show you exactly what we're all about and what our plans are with the site. So as they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. So we're going to start with these boards, but also want to introduce Vinny and Stacy, who are principals of First Fence, who are here with us.
Hi, and thank you for taking time. We'll hopefully sort of answer a lot of your questions during the presentation. I did also pick up on a couple of points. We might have a couple of terminology sort of differences where we've got to pick up those, but I'll clarify that during the presentation.
And then sit there and idle and wait to get loaded up.
Hi, I'm Stacey. Yeah, thank you for having us. And if you have any questions through, we're happy to help and answer any of them.
So I think if we do move forward with the 6 a.m. start time, I would like to see something that prohibits the crews from pulling into the property until 6 a.m. Meaning they don't get there at 5:30, so the first in, first out, so they can get the job sooner. And then they sit there and idle for 30 minutes or longer while they're waiting for the move. That makes sense.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I know.
But we also have,
If they're waiting outside the site to go on the site, for example, I guess that would be how you define hours of operation, right? And if hours of operation means that they cannot have vehicles enter the site before those timeframes. If we catch them, on that site during those prohibited times, then that would be a violation, obviously. If they're outside of the site, then it would be a matter of traffic enforcement. If they're parked along the road in places where they're not allowed to park.
Correct. And so again, this all kind of feeds into the decision, but I think going back to Mayor Pro Tem's comment, turning left from the center lane would be easier on the trailer. That may be where they wait, but that could have impact to the other businesses. But as far as preventing them from entering the facility, I suspect a fence company could build a fence to keep them out until. But we'll let that kind of get in the presentation. That's where my concern is at, is just being good neighbors. And they say, good fences make good neighbors, but also have to think about the sound impact that would happen. If there's a chance to reconfigure the site to change where the pickup zone is and pull it away from the existing neighbors, I would also love to see that or discuss that more as well. But yeah, there on the drawing, the top sliver of red in the very top, that's the pickup zone. And then right behind that are about 4 houses to the north. Reconfigure the site to change what that pickup zone is. That's a
Sorry, I didn't have that on there. I didn't realize I had put that on there.
To kind of go along with that, it is also important to keep in mind that those neighbors, they are already catching a lot of issues because of the southeast landfill as far as noise and things. I mean, when we're hearing noise from that entity at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, really want to not have them getting it from the other side from this company. So we do need to keep that in mind.
Any other questions for me? If not, I would like to, if with your proceedings, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask the representatives of the company to come forward and present their case to you, if you're so inclined to allow that.
Yes.
Industrial loading dock area, we're gonna bring it up to first fence, grade A brand, and, you know, make it just easier for people to locate where to come in and out to, pick up commercial loads. So we appreciate your time taking a look towards. Hey, everyone, thanks so much for taking the time to consider our, application here for plan development on this site. My name is Palmer Thomas. I'm the commercial real estate broker helping my client First Fence with the site selection as they enter the United States to expand their success.
A little bit about us. We're a fencing company. We established 2010 as a one-man band, driveway, front room, as a fairly small operation. We've grown at a decent rate. We employ around 230 people in the UK over 8 locations. And we've had significant growth, especially since 2015. We're now looking to expand outside the UK, and we're really excited about this property here in Kennedale and looking at bringing some of the services and the products that we offer and coming and being a bit different. So it's a bit of a timeline of just, sorry, skipping that presentation. It's a bit of a timeline of, I suppose, some of the milestones and the different facilities we've opened in the UK and where we are today. And one of the things we do very differently compared to sort of most fence companies, I wouldn't class us as a typical fence company. We sell fencing, but primarily we service our customers, and that's what's made us really successful in the UK. And we're hoping to do the same here in the US. We really are really focused about how and what we do for our customers, and I suppose communities where we're in. We've got a lot of sites within the UK that are fairly similar. Within Essex, we're in a small island there. Within Glasgow, we've got a really sort of small community there. So we're really quite passionate about integrating ourselves within them areas. But where we still really focus is strategically placing ourselves and offering a just totally different experience to our customers. So we've done an awful lot of research as we've been here over the past few months, and every single fence company we go to, where we still really focus is strategic. It's remarkable because most people don't offer the level of service that we're anticipating. Hence, we're proposing the 6 a.m. starts. Yeah. So where we are looking to do, we've got a couple of sections where we've got a retail front where we're hoping that retail customers can come in and we will service them well. But a contractor-based business, we also sort of see as being collections that will come in. We are very, very organised as a business. We use an awful lot of technology and systems so people can order ahead. Our yard guys and our sort of team generally pick all of our orders in advance. So generally people are not with us for sort of more than 10 or 15 minutes. They're loaded because their order's already pre-picked, and we can service them and get them out the door relatively quickly. Okay.
You know, and as we go through here, Vinny, you know, we're sort of talking about, this at the front of the meeting, the types of traffic that would come in. A lot of the contractors that would come in would be coming in on sort of smaller trucks, right? Yeah, I mean, so it's not 18 wheelers coming in and out all day. You know, that may be, I don't know how many times a month to get product.
So our raw material that would be coming in would probably have one delivery on a semi per month, which would make sure it came in the hours of 8 till 5. The pickup from 6 to 7 for the contractors, they'd be in the normal pickups that you use with your normal trucks. They don't have the semis. Our average orders are not high. So it is just your everyday pickups use that would be before. But what we do is when Vinny stated we offer the service, we do make sure that what anybody wants, we'll deliver for them. So we'll make sure that it's a really smooth operation. So we'll pick and pack the night before. We have set locations to know exactly whose order goes into what bay. So as soon as they come in, they're literally, like Vinny stated, they're 10, 15 minutes maximum and they're loaded and they're out. So it's really minimum noise that there is, and it's a really efficient process. That we do. Have set locations to know exactly who's-
You know, and we do, you know, I think it is worthwhile for us to touch on, you know, they are active in the community engagement piece. So maybe Stacy, if you want to touch on kind of some of the things that you guys have done.
So we have 8 sites across the UK, and we deal with the community a lot there. We have a lot of homelessness that we do, community events, animal welfare. We have mental health and wellbeing charities that we support, and then food banks as well in each local area. We sponsor the sports teams in each area as well for football or rugby or school kits. So we do a lot with the communities everywhere we open up. Community events, animal welfare.
And then, you know, from a high level, you know, it was interesting because you guys touched on it. You know, the growth of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and what we're doing here is trying to aid in that growth and sell, you know, high-end product where we do a great job servicing it because it is so much growth. So, you know, as we looked at it, we saw, you know, the US fencing market was growing. You know, they've had success in the UK. So we targeted first the South, and then we had, you know, ran the same numbers that you guys did and saw that Dallas-Fort Worth area was, you know, an excellent area for us to grow this business. They have a number of different types of fence that they store. And I think this answers some of the questions that you guys had about the type of product that they'll be, storing on site, ranging from galvanized fencing, timber fencing, chain link fencing, aluminum fencing, temporary fencing, you know, agricultural wire and mesh fencing. You know, again, this is a very advanced company compared to many of my clients. So I think Vinny could probably speak to which type of product is going to be in what quantities. They're going to figure it out a little bit as they go along with customer demand, but we can answer any questions around that. I guess here it is, 20%, you know, sort of laid out what the product will be. You know, as we get into employment, again, you know, their people are very important to them. I think what was the total number of employees? You guys have over 200 some odd employees in the UK. We're, you know, obviously doing business in the UK. It's not as easy as in the States. So they've been very successful there, and they want to hire and grow their talent pool here and employ folks. So maybe if you want to speak to some of the training that you guys plan on doing, Stacy.
So our biggest success stories are people. We do a positive work environment. Our culture is all about transparency and trust. We have a training committee in the UK where we do a lot of external and internal training, from finance to health and safety to leadership, customer service. And what we want to do here is the same as we do in the UK. We work with the schools and the colleges to be able to offer young people career paths with us. So we do spend a lot of time with people and their development in the UK. Leadership, service.
So it's not 18-wheelers coming in. Oh, and then we put together here a pro forma, which really lays out what again, with their projections, because their business has been growing at a very fast rate due to really some of the advanced technology. They've taken what's pretty, you know, building materials businesses, or, you know, Yeah, they've been around for a long time and they've taken a very, data-driven approach to running their business and they've had success growing it. Thus, we've had, a pretty aggressive pro forma, which we feel we can hit in terms of their employment plan for Kennedale, which I think is very exciting, starting in 2026 with a total of on-site employees, 15, ramping all the way up, and then off-site employees of 7, ramping up, to 27, 9. It's a fast growth rate that ultimately gets us to 55 on-site employees with 9 off-site. So this is, ground zero for their U.S. growth. So to partner with you guys in Kennedale is very important to them. And that's why we've been here a number of times, and are excited about it, and about the ways we can enhance the site and benefit the community. This next slide here, this is what we started with on our foam boards of where the site is now, in terms of its aesthetic appeal to where we're going to take it, which again is in step with their retail focus, where they allow customers to interact with their product, which we feel is a pretty big differentiator, and in step with the original zoning for the site. Here's another one of the a little bit different take of one of the slides where you can see this is a customer sort of experience, a center area where the customers can come in, look at the product, engage with salespeople who would be hired from the community and make orders, which again will fund retail sales to benefit the tax base. Our next slide here, we get into, the zonage, the usage, effectively the usage of the site, which I know that we had a little back and forth on earlier, but on a high level, what we're trying to do is orient the retail part of the site to the front and the operations part to the back of the site. And we've deliberately left this wooded area, which we're purchasing as well, which is outlined in section 19 to the south. That's a wooded area. Our plan as submitted is to keep that wooded to further separate the residential from the back operations, where we will be very mindful of sound. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so if I can just jump in there, it's a very busy this screen
From the back.
I think one of the questions was around loading area. Our loading area is actually down as number 9. So there might be some confusion in our terminology, but where we're looking for customer pickups in the morning, we would be looking at doing that in number 9. Where we've got it as number 16, I think you referred to, would just be where we basically park our pickup trucks when empty, when they return back from doing deliveries. So we wouldn't look to carry out any loading in them areas. We would be looking at doing that in number 9, where we've got it as number. And then everything else around the site, I think, like Palmer indicated there, we've tried to lay the site out so a lot of the noise and everything else would be towards the front of the site and away from any local residents. I know one of the questions was around storage of material and height. We've had a meeting with obviously the local fire department, and we would look to comply to any standards you guys have already sort of got in place. So I believe the standard is 12 foot, and we would be adhering to them across the board on the site. Storage of material and height. Yeah, and also in terms of, I suppose the site in general. We've had a few walk around the sites. We propose to lose, I think there's a couple of trailers on the site that have been there for quite a while. We'd propose to be removing them trailers, and probably removing all the paint booths, a lot of the mezzanine floors, and taking the site back to really a shell, making the office areas all open, plan to turn it into into a showroom effectively. And then alongside that, I believe we've also agreed that we would look to put a sprinkler system in as part of the works we're doing, which will hugely sort of improve fire safety standards there as well. One of the tomorrow and then I think one of the other questions was around fabrication, I believe, and pickets. Just to sort of be clear, we're not proposing to do any fabrication of lumber or anything like that. The only fabrication we look to do is for bespoke custom products for customers that wanted something a bit unique, a bit different. So yeah, we're not looking to do any sort of do any lumber or, you know, lots and lots of manufacturing. It's more bespoke products. So it can go hand in hand and we can offer a service to our customers where we can guarantee a lead time for them.
They allow customers to interact.
Yeah, we're not looking to do any sort of
pretty big differentiator.
or,
and
lots and lots of manufacturing. It's more.
You know, again, here's more about the community engagement where they, I think Stacy, maybe you might want to touch on, you know, we're proud to be in Kennedale, partner with you guys. You know, be a sports sponsor, help those in need, be a participant in city events, and really, you know, integrate into the community in a positive way. Again, touch on, you know, we're proud to be in Kennedale.
A quick question for you.
Guys.
Just to be clear, what exactly are the hours and days of operation that you are proposing to have?
So we are proposing Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. In the morning, and on Saturdays and Sundays it would be from 8 a.m.
The operation
part
Days
to the back
of
of the site.
operation until when?
Oh, until 6 p.m. Monday to Friday, and Saturday and Sundays till 12.
Which is outlined in section.
Again, to be clear, you are proposing to be operating 7 days a week. Is that correct?
We are looking to primarily do Monday to Friday with a Saturday morning. However, again, we're a service business, so if our customers would like us to be opening on weekends, we would like the option to be able to do.
Okay, thank you.
We also want to make a big retail part there, so you can come in at the weekends and you can pick up anything you want to be able to do your own garden or your house. So we want to be able to offer the Saturdays, Saturday mornings. So once you finish work and you want to be doing some DIY at the weekend, you can pop into us. So we're open to you, and we're investing in the experience centre. So it's just something else that you can have a walk around. You can speak to somebody who actually knows about all the products and can help you. So it's a bit more of an experience you have.
Did you say Saturdays and Sundays, 8 a.m. to noon or 8 a.m. to 6?
Noon.
Okay.
Doing the experience, so we wouldn't look to carry out any loading in them areas.
Speak to somebody who actually knows about all the products and can help you. So
And then everything else around the site.
Saturday or Saturday and Sunday?
Sorry, currently we would like to open just a Saturday, and that would be it. So if we grew and everybody wanted Sunday, then we'd be happy to open Sunday, but currently Saturday.
I know one of the questions was around storage of material.
So I think you touched on one of my main concerns, which was that pickup area. And if I'm looking back at the map again, if they're coming in and then turning into the blue number 9 area and then out, they don't get far enough west to really kind of get into the back into the residential that's over there. It looks like they stay east enough to be only in the commercial, which I think is good. I think I would like to see something around no idling, even when they're in there, because if you get a few trucks in there, while they may not be 18-wheelers, they will most likely be diesel trucks, and diesel trucks are still just loud, just the nature of the way they run. So I'd like to possibly see something that says, if you're parked here for pickup, don't let your truck idle. Please turn it off. You know, just be a good neighbor, at least until later in the morning. And then my other comment on slide 17, you've got a proposed fence outline, and in one of them you've got a very nice white fence that's solid. You won't want to put that on the highway right there. I'm just forewarning you now, you're going to create a big blind spot if you put it there. So you'll want to not build that part.
What slide is this?
We're in our packet here. It's slide 17. It's a existing elevation of 287. Picture has a current and proposed. There's just one mock-up in there of a white fence that's going to block all visibility to.
Just to sort of clear, we're not.
Okay, yes, yeah, we'll pull that out.
Just forewarning you now, we've had some challenges with that.
Fabrication we look to do is for bespoke customers that wanted something.
Mr. Mayor, before they continue the presentation, just a point of order, they ran out of time. I would like to allow them 5 more minutes to finish up. All right, 5 more minutes.
So, again, as part of our plan to move here, and expand the business from the UK, where they've been growing at a fast rate, to Kennedale, we're excited about the revenue projections, where we think in fiscal year 27, they can do over $8 million of gross revenue, growing pretty significantly, which is in step with their growth rate in the UK, which is outlined here. On the following page, we have a local tax contributions pro forma, which, we're very excited about the success of the business as we invest in the people. And, we were able to, reactivate the site, the type of tax revenue we're going to be able to draw here. So, if there's anything on this you want to touch on further, or we can just continue to move on. We're trying to move fairly quick. As this is a growth business, they've gone ahead and made some orders to where they'd like to, if possible, and we can make it happen, go ahead and start here, starting in the 31st of March, where they'd like to launch the facility. And then, as we go back, well, I think as it pertains to this meeting, I think we're ready to answer any questions that you guys have. Where they'd like to. I appreciate your time. And then,
I'll just have a few minor ones. The extended property that wraps around the 19 that you have no plans. Any
Yeah.
future plans for that?
No, our plan here is to leave that vacant as a way to help really two things. One, it came up earlier that, one concern where the council people here had was the level of impervious and the drainage. Our thought was, if we left that vacant and wooded, it would be, it wouldn't cause any, again, it would be low impact. So, and it would also create a buffer between us and the residential folks. So that's a concession we're kind of making to help make sure that it's good for the community.
And as far as storage, everything's gonna be on a pallet. So I noticed you guys had some lawn care stuff. So I'm assuming fertilizer that would be stored on a pallet on the property, correct? For rain, for wash? Yeah. And then to maybe expand on the transportation issue my colleagues might have, you're saying a flatbed's gonna come once a month to deliver the materials you need, and that would be probably around 6 in the morning to do that delivery, during the day?
They would come between the hours of 8 and 5.
All right, and that's usually once or maybe twice a month if it was busy month.
Yeah.
Yep. Everything else would just be like a contractor's truck, like a F-350 kind of thing.
From 6 till 7, yeah.
Gotcha.
And the loading, again, they do the loading the night prior.
Sure.
For the early morning pickup. So they're very deliberate to not make a lot of sound. When you get there in the morning, they're going to have the package ready for you to load onto your smaller vehicle. That way it's a low impact at 6 a.m., but that way it can help people get started, because there's a lot of fence getting purchased here as you guys are growing. And then, again, people are going to be making orders as they interact within the customer experience center. They can look and say, oh, well, I like this, and place the order, and then we can make those ad hoc.
So I'm not more concerned about the transportation noise, because during the day, this is the transportation hub of the area, but I mean, you have trains all day, but it's the forklift, which beeps really loud when you back up, but you're next to window people, so I'm not too concerned either. But That would be, I think, the noisiest thing coming out of your lot is your forklift.
We have a site that's all residential around it in the UK, and we take off the bleeping systems and we use the lights to reduce any noise.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. My last little comment or question to you guys. You were talking about community focused. I mean, you obviously picked the best town in DFW, in my opinion, for community focused business and integration. I think you would understand our maybe a reserve about preserving the old town and why we have a rich history here in Kennedale. It's a very tight knit community. I get the phone calls when my daughter's speeding down the road. That's the kind of community we live in. So I just want to make sure that you guys are adamant with that look and feel that we're looking for that area.
100%, and we want to be part of this. I mean, I've joined the Kennedale Buzz already on Facebook, so I'm already having a look. We've already employed the first person from Kennedale. We really want to be a part of the place.
I'm glad you guys decided on Texas to move your business out of the country.
Yeah, no, and we looked high and low. This is a very, we looked for a long time, a lot of different places, and consider where could we go. And we saw this site, we came across it, and we thought, Vinny at his heart, he's an entrepreneur, and he saw it and he said, we can make a lot out of this. So we focused here, and we think that it's a great community to, help grow the business and employ people. We came across it and we thought.
Any further questions, comments?
He's an entrepreneur and he saw it, we can make a lot out of it.
Have what's more of a procedural question. Are we approving, if we vote on the sign, it gets approved, the right-hand only turn, does that need to be amended in the motion?
Make it happen. Go ahead.
Getting nodded, okay.
Yes, if you want to make any changes to the ordinance that you have in front of you, you'll need to make those in the form of amendment, and then we can make those changes.
Are we approving?
And then,
To clarify, Mr. Glover, you want to remove the right-hand turn, correct?
I agree with the Mayor Pro Tem that trying to make traffic turn right and push them deeper into town with most likely pulling some version of a trailer is going to be a challenge. So I think left hand in and the ability to turn left out is probably going to be the best.
I agree. And if it's only once or twice a month, I don't foresee it being a big
It's
deal.
the pickups. It's the 6 a.m. pickups I'm thinking about. It's not their
Oh, not the delivery.
So I have a question for the city attorney. Do we need to get all of these adjustments to the ordinance clarified first? And then would be a motion about the ordinance as amended? Question for the city attorney.
Yes. You want to state the changes that you want to make, and they will be amendments to the ordinance that you have in front of you. And then once you've got all of those, then someone will make a motion to approve as amended. Yes.
And as far as storage, everything.
I know there's probably an interest to get this done tonight, but if there's willing to postpone it, I mean, we can revise it and draft it and bring it back to you for approval later, but I mean, that just costs the time to do
They're
that.
saying a flatbed's gonna come once a month to deliver. Because it all depends. If it's only one amendment, I don't foresee any problem. If we're gonna do 20, then it'd be good to look at it on paper amended.
I can handle the one so far. I just didn't know what you guys had in mind.
But one of the deals in here is also says operations from 7 to 7, and they want to do from 6 to 6, am I right?
Yeah.
And then on Saturdays and Sundays, different times too, so that needs to be amended too.
I mean, my stance on it is if you want to amend Saturday, I know Ms. Kovac has concerns about Saturday, let's do that. Otherwise, let's exclude the hours from operation during the week and let them decide. So,
But we have to go by our ordinance too, and our ordinance says businesses, any type of construction starts at 7 o'clock.
mhm.
It's not at 6 o'clock. So if they want to do to 6 o'clock, but our ordinance says 7 o'clock, right?
Let me correct you. For construction, that is correct. When we're talking about our ordinance and when you can start construction or start your work, it's two different types. So starting at 6 a.m., there's no issue with starting with 6 a.m. We have a 5 a.m. donut. We have other businesses that operate way before 6 a.m. So honestly, in that context, they cannot start construction within the city limits.
But I'm going by the noise ordinance too.
That
The noise ordinance is 7 o'clock.
You guys.
Correct, starting with construction.
So,
Way before.
if you have a forklift and it's offloading materials onto a trailer and it slams down, is that not construction? Part of construction. So that's what I'm looking at.
Hey, it's operations of the business. It's no
Right.
different from 5 a.m. donut start.
I look at it as we have an ordinance on when people can make noise. So if you're running a piece of equipment, a forklift, then that is construction equipment, any way you look at it. So that doesn't start till 7 o'clock.
It can be construction equipment, but it is also operational equipment because it can be used to move large amounts of product, for example, in a big box retailer, but that is not construction.
And just to remind, I don't get up that early, you know, having a business of my own, but our traffic starts around 6 o'clock around here, especially with the construction. So or people are already kind of moving at 6 a.m. around here.
So, City Attorney, do we need to more clearly define what construction is? Because it sounds like there are some concerns about that.
Especially with the construction.
I would recommend you save that for code enforcement later. I think if you just change the ordinance right now, that's that paragraph or section number 9, if you just change for 7 a.m. to 6.
The right-hand only
What
turn,
I think we would.
that can be amended in the
Because
motion.
it sounds like there are some concerns about that.
Not hit, okay.
On the exhibit, you want to make any changes to the ordinance, the development standards. Those in the form of amendment, and we can make those changes.
Any other amendments?
Clarify, Mr. Clerk.
And I trust somebody is writing this down. Should a motion put forth?
Just a follow-up, if we're gonna amend time, I would like to release the time Monday through Friday because it will have a normal business operating. But I'm okay with the Saturday restrictions or even Sunday that Ms. Kobeck is concerned about.
Somebody is writing this down. Should a motion?
I actually wasn't concerned. I just wanted clarification.
Well, I mean, if they're open to noon and want to open till 6 or 7 on a Saturday, they might want to do that one day. So I don't want to restrict even a time period, but just a range that they can work or start working, I guess, on a weekend.
Actually,
If it's not a concern, then let's just pull the time out altogether. I mean, if they're open to noon and want to open till 6 or 7 on a Saturday, they might want to do that one day. So I don't
want to state the change. There's no problem with if you want to specifying both, you go 6 to 6 Monday through Friday and then 8 to 6 on
Not a
Saturday.
concern.
Got all together, if that was okay with the
Altogether.
applicant. Make a motion to approve.
Yeah, I guess just as a business owner, I would hate 2 years from now to having to come down here and ask us to change the ordinance because I want to move my hours of operations from 7 to 7.
Specifying.
That's where I'm coming
6
from
to
with that.
6.
It's just,
No earlier than, so they wouldn't have to change the ordinance.
gotcha. Well, no earlier than 6, no later than 6, though, is what we're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's my concern. Change the ordinance.
As long as you stay within the 6 to 6, then they can set their hours.
That's where I'm gonna do 20 is just.
But if they want to extend beyond and start at 5 a.m. or continue to say 8 p.m., then you would need to amend the law.
That's my concern. To me, that's business coming to ask government permission to work their business. But I understand the concern over the weekend.
Would it also be possible to amend this? I think this may address some of the, I think it would address my noise concerns and possibly the mayor pro tems and say there can be no truck idling until 7 a.m.
I understand.
Meaning when the trucks pull in to load up, if it's not 7 a.m., they turn off. Idling for even the 15 minutes it takes to load them up. That's the director's coming up also.
Would that be something code enforcement could handle, or does that need to be?
What I would suggest, if idling is something you want to add, that would be, obviously, the motion would be to add a restriction on truck idling on the site. In order to make it more effective and enforceable, you might suggest an amount of time, no longer than X amount of time, because, trucks might sit there for a little while, adjust a little bit, et cetera. So some reasonable amount of time that they would be. That way, a officer, for example, could sit there and put a stopwatch on. If they go past that, then they're in violation. Let's say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you feel is an appropriate amount of time for that particular location.
So in that case, could we just use our ordinance? Our ordinance says 1 hour.
Certainly, you could pick any amount of time that you think is reasonable. And then
For
add
idling,
that
says
as an
that?
additional condition.
I mean, as a son of a truck driver, I know my father would say, I'm not turning off my truck. That's an 18-wheeler. We're talking about, Ford F-250s, those kind of extended cab kind of vehicles in the morning, maybe a Class B as well, which don't really, I mean, the diesels do, but the 350s do, are kind of loud, but not loud as far as going across that parking lot, across some trees and into a neighbor's and into their house. I guess that's where I'm kind of at with the maybe a Class B.
Well, if we go with the.
But I like the limitation of the time that was suggested, if
Yeah,
by
so if
about 5 minutes or whatever.
If we go with an hour, we're already at 7 a.m. anyway. I'm just thinking about the neighbor who's possibly going to be here in the earlier. But again, if we can prevent operations from starting before 6 a.m., meaning the crews can't come into the lot for then, that'll keep a lot of the just, I'm sitting here for 30 minutes waiting noise down. So, okay. I'm just thinking over the time.
Save that for code enforcement.
But that also will cover
But again,
any trucks that's doing a delivery, like your materials and stuff like that, your big semis coming in. If they show up the night before and truck driver thing, they just can't come on the lot and just sit there on the lot and idle till they can unload the truck the next day. So that's the whole thing with our auto ordinance too. And stuff like that, your big
I trust somebody is writing this down. Should they motion?
So just to clarify, the changes so far are that we've discussed.
So what I have is an amendment that hours of operation can be no earlier than 6 a.m., no later than 6 p.m. Adding that no truck idling can occur for more than 1 hour as per city ordinance before 7 a.m. and no delivery trucks would be arriving before 7 a.m. Is that what? For more than 1
I would still like to remove the time constraints of the business of operations. I just don't think, I know it's a PD and gives us a lot of power, but I don't think government should tell businesses when it should be open, or as long as they're within the noise ordinances that we already have in regulations.
I agree with that. Currently, we don't have any other company in the city of Kennedale that's restricted on idling or when they can start, when they can close, and that concept. It just
They going by our ordinances, that's the restriction. We just don't enforce it.
Well, we do when we have a complaint, that process does start. But again, it's not, we're putting this into a plan development to indicate all these restrictions. And to your point, if we have an idling vehicle, the complaint is not, when we have the plan development, the complaint is the ordinance or the noise. So we're putting additional verbiage into a plan development that's literally is already covered. And to your point, if we have an idling.
My only thing that I would like to see in the PD, and which is already there, is the preservation of the look and feel of the old town that we already have in place. I guess, and that's already there for me. Like, I just hate to restrict a business or have a government tell a business what to do with their business.
certainly, but going back to the city manager's comment,
That I would like to see in the PD.
and this may be a question for the city attorney, the plan development does not give them an exception to the city ordinances around noise. So if we still get complaints at 6:15 in the morning saying there's from the neighbors, that'll still be enforceable. And they can't say, no, we're plan development, therefore we're immune or exempt from the city ordinance.
And we have an app for that now.
And then one of the deals I want to get away with, unless y'all are okay with it, is the right hand in, right hand out. So that would be,
And the city of Kennedale does not have jurisdiction over 287. That will be a text dot. There was mistakes with the ordinance being written, and obviously that's one of them. That restriction is not our decision to make. Cannot make that for text dot 287.
So with that in mind, then the only amendment to this ordinance would be the removal of the right turn in, right turn out restriction.
That's
Because all other things that have been discussed can be addressed through code enforcement.
That's correct.
Then
Well,
the
with-
amendment.
you would
to
delete
this
section 8
that would take care of the right turn issue.
But not loud as far as
And
going.
section 9 still has hours of operation as 7 to 7. So if you want to change the hours of operation to 6, then you would need to make that an amendment.
I would like to remove 9 is what I'm.
Or you could remove it completely.
5 minutes or whatever.
Either way, you'll still need to amend that unless you want to say 7 to 7. 9 still has hours of operation.
Was this a removal or a deletion?
Yeah, I call it a deletion, but I think either one works.
I would like to remove 9 is what I'm.
Or you.
Any further?
Trying to make sure we've got our I's dotted and our T's.
So a deletion of 8 and 9, that's where we're at
So
7 to 7.
as a compromise.
move also remove
Was this a removal or a deletion?
There we have it. Any further discussion? And somebody's writing down the proposed,
I got it.
well, if there is no further discussion, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we adopt ordinance number 25-794 with the deletion of sections 8 and 9.
Do we have a second?
I will second, Mr. Mayor.
Oh,
The deletion is from Exhibit B, the development standards.
With the deletion of sections 8 and 9 from Exhibit B.
all
You
right.
still second it, Mr. Narvaez?
Yes, I still second.
Wonderful.
Council, please cast your vote.
Deletion of sections 8 and 9 from Exhibit B, 7 a.m.
And the vote passed unanimously. Welcome to Kennedale. Excuse me.
Can I just say thank you? We really do want to be a part of the community and be here, so we really appreciate it. Thank you.
We look forward to it. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Everybody doing it? You don't want to try and get through the last one, you need.
I don't know if I have it in me. Can I take a break?
All right,
Got this contract.
break now. All right, we're going to take a 5-minute break. 7:48 PM.
You're on number 5.
You don't want to try and get through. going to get started yet again. Go for it. I'm just kidding. Next, we've got the Fort Worth contract regarding the Dick Price Road renovations. Mr. City Manager. Going to get started yet again.
Thank you, Mayor. This is pretty exciting as we move forward. The city of Fort Worth had presented to us several months back that they're having some construction or bridge work being done on Salt Road. Salt Road is an entry for their landfill. With that, with their bridge needing construction, they're needing to utilize Dick Price Road to enter their facility. With that, as you're aware, majority of Dick Price is owned by us. With that, they need to utilize that. We have an ordinance in place that does not allow them to use that entry. We have come to an agreement for a short period, roughly 3 months, for them to utilize Dick Price Road for their entry into the landfill. Once their road, Salt Road, is completed, obviously they'll go back to using their entry on Salt Road. With that, we have asked for 3 months for them to utilize Dick Price. Completion of the remodel of Dick Price. So currently in front of and Dick Price, right at the railroad track, they have an entry going in their facility. There's been damage done to that road, and we asked for that to be repaired. With that, we have come up with a calculation that was roughly around $600,000 to $900,000 for them to utilize them to use that entry point. With that, I've requested that they come in and reconstruct Dick Price Road from the railroad track to Averett Road. With that reconstruction, they will come in with a standard where an 18-wheeler can utilize that road without damaging it. So whatever the calculations that would hold that weight will be utilized and put into implement that new road construction. With that, the calculation is roughly $900,000 to renovate that section. It's with our desire to be able to make that happen and have a new portion of Dick Price. And obviously, as we continue to renovate Dick Price Road, that will roughly save us $900,000 in doing so. And it gives us roughly a good head start on having a new road implemented in that area.
Fantastic. Open the floor.
So to clarify, the fixing it for 18-wheelers is taking it away and adding depth to it, right? Adding like 9 inches.
That's correct.
It's going to be 6 inches.
6?
Currently, right now, Dick Price is only 4 inches.
Fantastic. Open the floor.
So we suggest and ask them
So to clarify,
6 inches,
the
4 inches of type B, 2 inches of type C. It's
on an overlay, or they're gonna ground up?
going to be rehab, so it's going to be pulverized.
Okay. And
This
this
is
is all
new
paid
base.
for? by
New
Ford?
base, new everything, all the way around.
And all paid for by Ford?
Yes, sir.
And what's gonna be done to the bridge?
It's currently their bridge. So Salt Road is their entry into the landfill. They have some construction issues with the bridge, with the road itself. They're estimating it'll be 3 months for them to repair that bridge or the roadway for them to entry. And they just requested to use Dick Price during that time of construction.
I got you.
Yes, Salt Road is a concrete street that they have access to their landfill, and it's failing, so
They're estimating.
while that is under construction, they ask that we use Dick Price as their entrance.
Okay.
So when would they be using Dick Price?
At whatever point we make a decision if they can move forward with this agreement. With that, they anticipate probably the next month. So we're looking probably somewhere in March for them to actually start.
So March through May, assuming that okay.
With approval.
And then when would these, is it reconstruction or repair? We're talking reconstruction? So when would that start?
It will start in
27.
26, 27 budget, their budget.
Yet again.
Okay.
With approval.
So after they tear up Dick Price, more than it's already torn up, thanks to some of the trucks that already come out of the landfill, on a regular basis at all hours of the day and night, then we're going to have to wait approximately a year before they start construction.
Correct.
With that, so they have to come in and they'll put a new driveway. So they'll put a new concrete driveway going into their facility on the Dick Price side, right? So with that, they will repair any damage that's done with their entry and exit.
And I understand that it goes down south on Dick Price, the reconstruction that will hopefully eventually happen will go down to where Avery connects, but it goes up to the railroad tracks?
Correct.
Which side of the railroad tracks, the south side or the north side?
South side.
Which way will the trucks be going out?
They will be going back to Kennedale Parkway. Obviously, they'll go back to.
But it goes up.
So
You
basically,
do realize that there have been a lot of issues with that railroad crossing already. Okay,
Absolutely.
so
And
this,
and there's no control for us with the railroad. That's 100% railroad. Every time it's damaged or anything happens, it is reported to them.
you realize that there have been a lot of issues with that railroad crossing already.
They'll come up with
Okay.
the absolute calculation of- And there's no control.
Other questions, comments?
City Manager, one clarifying comment.
House damaged or anything
The drawing at the end of the packet shows the work area, shows the project area ending on Shady Lane,
Reconstruction.
but you said it goes down to Everett. So we just clarify that.
Yeah,
so
there should be.
there's another drawing. Basically, the first drawing that you have there on that ILA, that's the segment they proposed to do. But then we counteract with them and said, nope, we want you to extend that all the way to Everett, and they agreed to that. So
There's
there's
another
another,
exhibit.
so there's another drawing that shows the extended limits.
Salt Road _ Dick Price.
Then we counteract with them and said, nope, we
Thank you,
want you
sir.
to extend that all the way to.
Have the residents along there been notified that this is a possibility?
No matter.
We
Because
haven't
that's
done
going,
it yet.
okay, because it's going to dramatically impact a lot of folks. And along with that, the, because this already happens anytime that there is an issue with traffic, even up on the parkway, we see people cutting through on Shady and Briarwood. We see all of that. So that's going to be something that is a concern. It's going to be something that we're going to have to really coordinate with our law enforcement to help protect those folks in that area.
Yes, ma'am. And we're prepared for that.
I think that's probably why they want to put the 27, because Southeast Connector, at least over here by the Kennedale Parkway, should be completed by that time. So that should relieve the traffic.
They won't stop them.
But during the contract, or not the contract, during the construction, the city of Fort Worth would have a traffic control plan that would address all the traffic issues.
Should be completed by that.
And there's no possible chance, even with this agreement in place, that at some point the city of Fort Worth would say, oops, sorry, we couldn't budget for that.
Well, they already got it approved. So once we approve this here, it's going to go to the Fort Worth City Council for their approval. Once it's approved, then they're set with it.
Okay.
And that's the purpose of their agreement.
I kind of figured that was the case. I just,
Yeah, that's the whole purpose of it.
this is not our first dance about Dick Price Road, and it's not anybody's first dance with another municipality finding a way to sidestep. I'm not saying Fort Worth would do it. I'm just saying it's been known to happen.
There is no way to effectively draft a contract to prevent Fort Worth from ignoring the language of the contract. So this is the best we can do in the form of an interlocal.
Saying it's been known.
Are there any improvements to the road that we'll get out of this, or is it just gonna be exactly the same width and length and ditches and.
Yeah, the improvement itself is based off of what is existing.
So it's just what's existing, no change in width, no storm drain. In reality, with the amount of trucks that run there with the two landfills that we have there, that road needs to be 52 feet wide. With a suicide lane, we don't have that, and it should be concrete.
But in this process, it will at least improve some of the grading for like the water, stormwater, things like that around it.
No, they are just rehabbing the street. If you want to do that, council member, you're looking like 60, $70 million.
That's the whole road and expansion. I get that part. but
Correct.
You would think it naturally is gonna rip up the road. They would have to regrade the sides for water flow.
Yeah, we'll have to have storm drain there, but we'll have to buy easement.
Every time it's damaged, any damage that they go beyond, obviously, they're gonna be responsible for that.
I guess my concern with that is all those ditches are older than me probably. And we of course keep up with it every once in a while, but it'd be a good opportunity to make sure that that stormwater flow flows properly.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, I don't foresee any issues where any of the stormwater is gonna change in that concept.
You know, we have a current ILA with the precinct 2 to rehab our storm existing drainage. We did a portion from Linda all the way to Everett last year. So we have other areas that we want to do the same.
Yeah, my only concern was that our new ordinance we did last year requires the property owner to clean that up now. And so it's just a good opportunity to make sure it was set right in the first place for that property owner in the future.
You commented, Mr. Navarez, about those ditches being older than you, they're older than me, and I'm much older than you are. So is there a way to include in this agreement that they will grade them or anything? Is that possible?
Not have just the street.
Any other questions, comments? If not,
Just one quick question for the city attorney, if I may. I don't see any time bounds in here. Maybe I'm missing it. So can you confirm, is there any time bound in the ILA that would motivate the city of Fort Worth to complete their side of the ILA once they're done with the reconstruction of the landfill?
You're correct. There is no time limit or time penalty.
So they could wait till 28, 29, whenever they get around to it.
It's for their fiscal year 26, 27 budget.
They have the budget just like
The
we.
completion will be in 26, 27 budget.
Yeah, they'll give us the
They'll put it in their-
assurance that they're gonna rehab the road in 27.
So, well, if they're putting it in their, it's 26 now, so they're gonna put in their 27 budget and complete the work in 27?
That's correct.
But they could theoretically roll that budget item over from year to year to year, and we could be left with a street that's in worse shape than it is already and no relief in sight.
Well, they are committed on the ILA that it's gonna get done in 27 with that $900,000.
That's in worse shape.
At one point, there's a trust
And no.
agreement. Now, obviously,
Well, they are
Stands about
committed
the
to the ILA.
things didn't always go as planned. But there's also a level of trust that we have to have within ourselves and each other. And this is no different. Trust
Been known to happen.
agreement.
City attorney, I'm sorry, city manager. The $900,000 was just mentioned. I don't see this in the ILA. I only see 600,000 mentioned. Are they gonna be capped at 600,000? And say, well, we're only gonna cover up to $600,000 in repairs, and after that, we're not doing it? Or it's on us to cover the difference?
It's 900,000.
There's 900,000 on that.
But you should be seeing red line.
See 600,000. Or that's what mine, $600. Say, well, we're only gonna.
The only thing I see in here is the 600,000 on page 2. Is that what you see, Mr. Glover?
Right, yeah, I'm doing a text search. There's no 900 anywhere in this document.
I just shared it with you.
Seen,
Where are you getting it from?
Red line.
Sadly, and we don't have that.
That's what mine.
But in this process, we'll at least improve some of the grading.
Seeing here is the 600. So if we
They just rehab it.
potentially
Yeah.
tabled this until, say, next month, would that in any way affect when, I mean, would it, I think what I'm trying to ask is if we moved it back on our agenda, potentially, would it close the gap between when they theoretically finish using the road and theoretically start talking about putting it in their budget?
I don't think it's gonna, I don't think it's gonna change the. Absolutely. If you want to change the times, we put that into the contract. I think it's just the bottom line. If you want to come in and put a restricted date, then we come in and indicate that.
To rehab our.
City Manager Hall, my concern is that if they are saying we're going to fix our Salt Road between,
If you want to come in and put a.
we'll say February and April, but, oh, sorry, Kennedale, we're not going to worry about even putting the repair monies or I'm sorry, the reconstruction monies in our budget until 2027. That's a big gap. And even once those monies are put into a budget that hopefully is potentially approved, there could be an even bigger gap while an awful lot of people who use that road are inconvenienced and endangered.
Your point taken very much, right? However, that's on any construction, just like New Hope, Sweeney Heights, any road construction we're doing where we're having to utilize the road, right? With that,
Imbalance in here. Maybe I'm missing it. So can you confirm?
even for us, we know we can't afford a $900,000 budget amendment, right? They're in the same boat. Their budget has already been approved and moved forward. That's the purpose, the reason why it goes in the 27 budget. This concept of the repair, I don't know if they just didn't foresee or that their construction was not allowing that type of vehicle traffic to go by. I don't know what their decision-making was that had to come to us and ask for permission to use Dick Price Road. I do know it was not budgeted 900,000 to redo Dick Price. So that was the concern as we move forward. We did request that they start the construction right after their completion of their road. Unfortunately, it was not able to be budgeted on their side. That's the reason why the 27 timeline came into effect.
I understand that. I'm just trying to get the best deal possible for the residents who are going to be directly impacted by all of this on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
I'm trying to close that window as much as we can. I understand that. I'm just.
But bear in mind, their use of Dick Price is only from the parkway to the entrance of the landfill. They are not going past the entrance. Their trucks are just coming in and leaving. So there would be no big impact that we currently have with the residents of their use of Dick Price.
I would strongly encourage anyone who believes that to just sit out there at odd hours of the day and night throughout a week and just see how true that is.
There's always going to be an inconvenience. We have it on New Hope Road today. And that's going to take place. I don't know how to prevent that from happening. In the process, we have a road that's deteriorating that needs improvement. I look at it, this is an opportunity to get roughly 2,500 feet at a minimum price to the city of Kennedale. One of them is an inconvenience to the ones that utilize Dick Price. I think we're all in agreement with that. I don't have an answer to be able to prevent that from happening. I wish I did. I wish we can go in and it's fixed tomorrow, but that's not realistic. I don't know how to fix that concern.
My issue is certainly not with the city of Kennedale about all this.
You don't have an answer.
I hope you understand that.
I do. I still don't know how to regulate something that's gonna ultimately take 25 feet of the road out. I don't know how to fix that concern. And that is, to your point, it's gonna be a big traffic hazard. It's gonna be a huge traffic inconvenience, not only for our visitors that come in and out, but more importantly, our residents that use that road every day.
I think to Councilwoman Kovacs' concern, I guess the question for the city attorney would be, is there any latitude within the ILA to delay their start date of the construction to later in 26 so that we're closer to their 27 fiscal year where they, as soon as they get done with the construction, they immediately begin improvements of the road instead of having a long gap?
We can definitely do that. Their request was to start as soon as possible.
I don't think they're gonna buy off on that because their road is falling apart and they need to have trash moving into the landfill. The next thing they're gonna say, okay, fine, we're gonna fix that stuff. You're not gonna get anything from Fort Worth.
I'm sorry, the reconstruction monies.
That's the reason they came to us, because their road is falling apart and they need to get it fixed as soon as they can, and then they're gonna come back and reciprocate with us. But if we don't go through that route, then they might decide, you know what, we'll figure out another route and forget Kennedale.
Well, I don't feel like we're asking
Get it fixed as soon as they can.
too much here.
Come back and reciprocate
Just-
with us.
It's not that, it's that they haven't been willing to do anything until they wanted something recently. So this is a good opportunity to get what we want out of this, because they probably won't come back to the table for something similar on our borders for a while. Or it could have the exact opposite effect and show a good relationship to start other projects on our border as well. Because Fort Worth's a big city. They have a lot of government and a lot of politics, just like any other city around here. So we're hoping that this ILA will go through their budget for next year. And if it has an ILA agreement to it, it should support their budget amendments for next year.
Considering how Salt Road goes into there, I would say that they don't have a lot of other options.
We're hoping that this
decision making was
through
that
their budget.
had to come to us. They can't come through,
It should support their.
England. I do know that direction. There are other roads, that enter their land.
They could also split the construction. It just takes longer, and that's, I think, that's what they don't want to do. They can do half of it and keep half open, but that's more, that'll just add another month to their
Budgeted on
construction.
England.
That is correct.
So there are other roads, that enter.
But I also look at it too, is we're getting 2,500 feet of asphalt redone on Dick Price Road, when they could have just said, hey, we'll do from the railroad easement to the entry.
That's correct.
So, I mean, we're getting something out of it, even though it's going to take a while, but that part of Dick Price Road is falling apart anyway. Look at it too, is we're getting 2,500 feet of asphalt redone on.
And I don't foresee a reconstruction of Dick Price in the very
Yeah, not going past.
So
near future
we're getting
at all.
something out of it, even though it's going to take a while. but That part of Dick Price Road.
there would be no-
I looked at it as an opportunity to improve our roads, at bare minimum cost, to our citizens.
To just sit out there at odd hours of the day and night throughout the week.
Any other questions, discussion items? I will entertain a motion.
Just to clarify, a point of order, Mr. Mayor, we're either approving the IRLA or not, is what we're doing right now.
Correct. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the ILA with Fort Worth for Dick Price Construction.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Opportunity to get.
Or, excuse me, I've been signed out of my account, so it was popping up. Council, please cast your vote.
I'll make a motion to approve the ILA.
I don't have an answer to be able to prevent that from happening.
All in favor?
I wish I did.
Excuse me.
wish we can go in and it's fixed.
I've been signed out of my account, and the results are in. The vote passed unanimously.
The issue is certainly not with the city of Kennedale about all this. I hope you understand that.
I do. I just,
All right. So having said that, now I'm going to ask for a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Chapter 551, Section 072, deliberation regarding the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, and Chapter 551, Section 071, consultation with counsel on legal matters.
I'll make a motion to go to executive session.
Do we have a second?
Second it.
And all in favor?
Hold on.
Oh.
And chapter 5.
The way they're starting.
All right. Council, please cast your vote. All right, the motion passed unanimously. It is 8:21 PM and we will go to executive session.
Thing they're gonna buy off on
Council,
that,
please,
because
Kat.
their road is falling apart and they need to have trash moved into the landfill. The next thing they're gonna say, okay, fine, we can fix that stuff.
All right, the motion passed unanimously. It is 8:21 PM and we will.
Like when,
Go to
when the weather
executive
changes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
That's the
it's
reason
yeah.
they came to us.
super,
because
super.
Their road is falling
Yeah.
apart.
When it warms up,
and
it's like
they need to
not
get
so
it
bad.
fixed as soon as they can, and then they're gonna come back and reciprocate with us. We don't go through that route, then they might decide, you know what, we'll
Oh,
figure
yeah.
another route.
Yeah.
and Forget Kennedale.
Yeah.
When it warms up.
We're asking too much here.
Kind of thinking I didn't want to go on the record too much.
It's not that, it's that they haven't been willing to do
Who
anything
do you trust?
until they
Yeah.
wanted something recently. So this is a good opportunity to get what we want out of this because they probably won't come back to the table for something similar on our borders for a while. Or it could have the exact opposite effect and show a good relationship to start other projects on our border as well. Because Fort Worth's a big city. They have a lot of government and a lot of politics, just like any other city around here. So we're hoping that this ILA will go through their budget for next year. And if it has an ILA agreement to it, it should support their budget amendments for next year. Other projects.
Considering how Salt Road goes into there, I would say that they don't have a lot of other options.
All this color. It kind of threw me. I'm sure I was prepared to sign anything with that much activity on it. That is just the one?
So
All right.
construction, it just takes longer enough.
Okay,
I think
I'll
that's what
stop.
they don't want to,
I'll-
they can do half of it and keep half open. But that's more, that'll just add another month to their construction.
That is correct.
There are other roads that in there.
But I also look at it too, is we'll get 2,500 feet of asphalt redone on Dick Price
5 PM, we are going to reconvene back into regular session. And with that, I'm going to ask for everybody's favorite motion.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second? It is 9:05 and this meeting is adjourned. 5 PM, we are going to reconvene back into regular session.
Vote with your feet.
With that, I'm going to ask for everybody's favorite motion.
I make a motion to